Good evening. Welcome to Hip Hop Talks, podcast least likely to be sued by Drake at this point.
Shit.
All right.
I mean, that's the night.
Yeah, that's how we're starting off. Fellas, what's going on? How are you?
Good. Good.
It was actually a nice day here. And then it just like literally got cold like 30 minutes ago. I'm just like, I'm over it.
Frigid. We had a high of like 30 degrees.
Oh no, it's like 70 degrees today, but it just got cold out the middle of nowhere, like literally now. But that's how Atlanta. The weather's kind of like the women down here: bipolar, schizophrenic, sociopathic. Yes, very much.
We support all women at Hip Hop Talks, man. Don't listen to Coop. The Coop's is his views and opinions. That doesn't represent that of Hip Hop Talks.
Yeah, you keep supporting these hoes if you want to. Click like, share, subscribe to our page. We're growing. Pause.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sorry.
Yeah, especially when you use enhancements.
Yeah,
we're gonna leave your honey packs in 2024, okay?
Yeah, right. We did too. We moved on.
So you want to know? I kind of wanted the vibe to be like a little sports talk, right quick. Like, what are you feeling about the playoffs so far, fellas? I actually had an idea about what they should do with some of the NFL playoff season, but I just wanted to get you fellas' thoughts right quick on how you feel about the playoffs, who you picking right now, who you think was the most impressive, where you think we're headed, how we looking. What are your thoughts?
Trash. Cowboys not in there. Trash.
If you mean the Cowboys are trash, then yes.
Yeah, they are definitely trash. Definitely trash. It's interesting because I mean, I think anyone can make it right now, to be quite honest. The Rams looked really good last week. They played a hell of a game. I'm not surprised by them beating Minnesota. Sam Darnold, he messed himself up big time. Probably lost a lot of millions of dollars. Somebody's going to pay him, but I'm sure that's going to be a fraction of what he could have gotten if he would have been successful in the playoffs. I do think that it's a shooter's chance for everybody. I mean, this weekend you got the Ravens, you got Buffalo, you got Philly, you got who they got. Philly got the Rams. Second time they're playing this year. So it's going to be an interesting finish this weekend. I think the Chiefs can be had. You can't sleep on the Texans. I think they can be had.
You think the Chiefs can be had?
I think they can be had, man. I think they can be had.
In this round by Houston?
In this round.
AG, I saw you nod your head. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree.
Have you seen Patrick Mahomes' record and touchdown to interception ratio on the divisional round of the playoffs?
Yeah, but he ain't been the Patty that we know this year.
Right.
Okay.
That defense
hold on. Are any of y'all picking Houston? You picking Houston? Or are you just saying that they got a shot?
I think they got a shot.
Yeah, they got a shot.
They got a shot. Okay. Yeah.
It's not a smart bet, but they got a shot.
They got a shot. Yeah. Yeah.
They got a shot in their ass. That's what they're about to get. I mean, I love CJ Stroud. I love Houston. I do not think that. No. How about this? If CJ Stroud goes into Houston and goes into Kansas City and beats Patrick Mahomes and company and Andy Reid with two of his three best receivers being down. In his second year in the league, I mean, that's going to be one of the better and bigger playoff upsets in playoff history if he can scale that mountain. I'm doing this for year number 2 in a row, guys, but I feel like the stars are lining up for Lamar Jackson. I think he's going to go to Buffalo and beat Josh Allen this weekend, and I think he's going to go to Kansas City and beat Patrick Mahomes. I think stylistically, Kansas City poses a bigger threat, but Baltimore about to run all over Buffalo like they did earlier this year. Nothing about Buffalo's front seven defense has improved at all. You're saying that their heaviest linebacker is 10 pounds lighter than Derrick Henry. He's literally about to run over them and through them. This is a game about physicality, and if Lamar and Derrick Henry run the football, this game is over, and I don't think that it's much of a discussion. And it's not that Buffalo is a bad team. It's that styles do make fights, and Baltimore is their ultimate bad matchup. But I am picking Lamar to go on this run again. I think he said he made a quote earlier this week where they asked him if he had watched the Buffalo playoff game. He's like, yeah. He was like, I just got done watching the stick I threw, and then he had this look on his face. I was like, oh, I know that look because I come from a family of crazy people. I said that is that crazy look that I like to see in a winner. That's that look that Tom Brady has, that Patrick Mahomes has, and I saw Lamar with that look for the first time. I'm picking the Ravens to at least make it. Because I don't know who they're going to face. Because I think they can beat Detroit, but I think Philly poses a matchup problem for Baltimore. So
I disagree, Coop. I think it'll be a close game, but I think Josh Allen is going to sling the football and end up edging Baltimore out. I would like to see Lamar win it, but I don't think it's going to happen. I'm picking the Bills in that one, and at this point, I'm still riding for Detroit as the winner. You know what I'm saying? I think they're going to go all the way and win the Super Bowl. I'm still sticking to that.
you think Detroit's winning the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
I think if Detroit doesn't have to play Baltimore, I do think that it's about matchups. I think if Detroit has to play anybody but Baltimore, I would pick them as the favorite. But there's no guarantee that they beat Philly if Philly commits to the run. Because Detroit is dilapidated on defense as well.
I think they smoke on the Ravens' boots if they play in the Super Bowl. I don't think the Ravens can keep up with that offense. I don't think they can go score for score. Ravens defense is their crippler. That's their crippler. And Josh Allen's going to put up points against them. Lamar going to have to get into a track race with them. And I think the Bills have a higher chance to give them something more this year, to be quite honest. I don't think Ravens is for a shot.
Y'all do understand that they handed the Bills the first loss of their season and stomped the life out of them. They didn't just win by it wasn't like a field goal. They beat them by 25 points.
And I'm sure Buffalo remembers that. I think it's going to come down to the game of possessions. I think if Josh, has more possessions and longer than Lamar does, I think Josh is going to come out on top.
No, I think Pittsburgh just found out the same thing Buffalo's about to find out, which is when this team chooses to run the ball and you're kind of light with your linebackers, they're going to stomp you out. Like Pittsburgh just got their ass whooped too, and then that's what just happened. They just turned around and they kind of whooped that ass again, and they about to probably whoop
Pittsburgh got to do something about Tomlin. I think that was part of the problem.
I think Tomlin's part of the problem.
Russell Wilson.
How about this? For what just happened to Pittsburgh, they could have just played Justin Fields this whole season, and he'd be a better quarterback going in the next season. I feel like that is the mistake.
They should have stuck with him.
Because all those games that Russell Wilson won were winnable games by Justin Fields. The games that Russell Wilson needed to win, he just lost all of those games.
Yeah, Russ is washed. They tried to have faith in him, but they should have stuck with Justin.
He had a moment. He had a Russ moment for a game or two, quarter or two. And
he just looks like somebody that's never worked out in the offseason as a quarterback. He just does. And you can tell the wear and tear is starting to show.
Fame went to his head.
Too many trips with CC to Cancun.
In that regard, with the both of them, you got to side with youth in that case because they were comparable. Their performance was comparable, but you got to side with youth in that case.
You got to let them learn.
So,
all right. What do you think about, the Rams playoff game was actually held in Glendale, Arizona, and Minnesota had the better record. What do you think about if a team has a better record than the division winner, moving it to another site, but making it closer to the home team stadium? Like a lot of people understand getting from LA to that part of Arizona is probably a 4-hour trip. It'd be the equivalent of going from Atlanta to Charlotte. It's not a super, super far drive or commute for people. What do you think about how that played out? Because I still think it played out to the Rams' advantage, but they didn't have a home field advantage, but they didn't have the better record, so I don't think they necessarily deserved the home field advantage. They didn't have the better regular season, although they won a weaker division.
I can get behind that.
Yeah. I've always struggled with that. I've always struggled with that because you got to win your division. You got to master your division to be able to get that. That's the whole reason to play hard in your division. You got those guys twice a year, every year. So you got to go harder in your division. Pause. But I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the way that I feel about that is that, let's look at the AFC North, for instance, where legitimately, Cincinnati was a Kansas City, Andy Reid not being an asshole move away from being in the playoffs, which means the AFC North would have had 3 teams. You know what I'm saying? It's when you have that type of division and you don't win that division, I do understand what you're saying, but like, look at Cincinnati. Like, how about this? If Cincinnati was in Houston's position, oh, I would pick Cincinnati to beat Kansas City in Kansas City because that guy's done it, and that guy has a receiver that can't nobody guard. It don't matter because two passes to him change the game anywhere.
But that's the beauty of the NFL. It's so much parity because you can have a team that is low on the pole to get into the playoffs and catch fire. We've seen the Giants do it that year.
Yeah,
when they were like struggling and they barely got into the playoffs with a crazy run.
I mean, look at it like this. Baltimore lost to Kansas City on opening night by a point, by literally a player's toenail.
Yeah.
Baltimore only beat Cincinnati by a combined 5 points in 2 games.
That's what I'm saying.
The error of margin is that thin. Your division winner and a team that didn't make the playoffs, oh no, they played them as good as any team not named the defending champs played them this year. And Baltimore actually did have the highest ranked offense in the league over Detroit. So so you were right about the parity, Sean. The parity is like astounding at this point. Like Joe Burrow's at home. Think about that. Joe Burrow's at home right now.
Yeah.
That's
wild. Had an MVP caliber season, like I said at the beginning of the season.
I mean, I actually think he should still finish in the top 5 for MVP, even though his team didn't make the playoffs. I would put him right after Lamar, Josh, and Saquon. I would put him 4th.
Yeah.
Even with his team sitting at home, he had that kind of year. He outplayed Lamar in one of those 2 games.
Yeah, he did.
All right, let's get to some of the new news and the new music of the day. Let's start with new music, fellas. My guy, Beanie Sigel, fellas.
Broad Street Bully.
Yeah, we got the AI. What's this? This is the Freeway track, right? This is the Freeway track that dropped this past summer with Jadakiss, right? Yeah. No. What do we need to do? We need to do the super chats.
Yeah, we got 4 of them. Let's
go ahead and do that right quick before we get the beans. 007, what up? Queens get the money. Well, Method Man out here beating up kids. I don't know. How old is Method Man daughter again? Because the dude was 28 years old. That might be why he got his ass whooped. I thought Method Man daughter was like 18 or 19.
Like I think she's close to 30, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Yeah. Well, maybe
that qualifies. That checks out.
I'm about to say, well,
yeah,
shouldn't play with Method
Man. Age for ass whoop.
Staten Island, get your ass whooped. Got your ass whooped. I mean, really don't know what to say to that.
Yeah.
Happy trails. Hope you got Medicare, Medicaid, health insurance, something. Stitch up your wounds. CJ the Kid with the $10 super chat. Hey guys, hope you guys are doing well and are healthy. Update: Che Noir is not the female MC stepping out. She confirmed it on Dead End Hip Hop Live last night, and I look nuts, unfortunately. LOL.
Couldn't be that last week, CJ. I told you that, CJ.
CJ, just I don't know what to say, young man. Just okay. 007 again. Let's skip to the Super Bowl. Kansas City versus Detroit. I don't think Kansas City is going to make it. I do think. How about this? If by some chance Buffalo does beat them, I think Buffalo's going. CJ the Kid again. Also, 2 days ago, I interviewed the rap collective Brokeland about their new album, Volume 2, for about an hour. They said I gave them their best interview ever, and they've been around since 2018. So I'm proud. CJ, you're not about to take my job in these streets, player. You stick to
dope work, CJ.
Stick to Toastmasters, CJ. No, you're not about to take my job. I'm like a starting NFL quarterback. I'm not giving you no snaps. Okay, you sit on the sideline. You sit on the sideline next to the offensive coordinator. Watch these plays get called out while I run these plays. Audible. Next super chat.
Too picky, Willie Beeman.
Yeah, Willie Beeman. Keep the ladies.
Had some bars on there. Speaking of bars, did y'all hear the Beans preview? What do y'all think about the AI generation? I haven't been a big fan of the AI, but for somebody like a Beans or for a DOC who have had life issues that have altered their voices, both of which are great rap voices. In the DOC's case, I think damn near an all-time great rap voice.
Absolutely.
Correct? DOC all-time great rap voice before the accident, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I actually think this is where AI actually benefits the hip hop community. And I can't front to hear Beans with his voice, quote unquote. Oh, that shit excited me when I heard it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's the Broad Street Bully. I've been hearing him rap for the last 10 years. but it hasn't sounded the same because vocally he hadn't been the same. He hadn't been able to penetrate and pierce that beat. So these are Beans bars with the AI technology. I was impressed. I can't lie, I enjoyed it, but I'm also partial to Beans. So what do we do about these conundrums now that AI can benefit of Beans?
AG, you know.
Coop, I think you said it perfectly, man. It creates a conundrum because Sean knows how anti-AI I am. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the things that frustrated me the most in the with the tailor-made freestyle with the Drake and Kendrick beef, right? But in this situation, you know, sometimes it could be some exceptions to the rule. This is not somebody using someone else's likeness. It's not somebody pretending to be someone else. You know what I mean? This is the genuine article. You know what I'm saying? The person who owns the property. You know what I mean? So they're just kind of restoring, you know, going back to what they once were. And in that case, I can get behind that.
Yeah. No, I echo that. It's Beans. You know, we know what happened with his situation with his voice. And if the AI allows him to do what he loves doing, which is rapping, which he does very well at a high clip, I'm all for it. I support it because, to your point, AG, it's one of those things where if you're using AI technology and you still got your vocals, you're still in good health and all those great things, and you're just using it just to enhance whatever you want to enhance, that's different. But in this situation, he's doing it as an aid because he needs it. It's not like he's leaning into it because he's trying to enhance or try to blend in with the culture at this point. He's doing it because he actually needs it. He want to get back to what he does, and that's being Beans. So I'm all.
And it's still him. I liken this to something like, you know, a movie. Like if you have an aged actor, but the role that they're going to play requires them to be de-aged by, you know, CGI technology or something like that. But the, you know, role that they need to play requires for them to look younger, but it's still them. It's still their acting chops. You know what I'm saying? So it's still them behind the camera, that they're just de-aged somewhat. So I liken that to this for me.
No doubt.
Poets and Rhymers said in the chat that the Beans is actually dropping at midnight tonight. Expectations for the Beans. Do we know who's handling production, guest appearances? Because I've heard absolutely nothing.
I have heard nothing about it. I have heard nothing about it.
Like I know in 2023, Sigel had started doing interviews and talk about how he was going to start using AI, and I don't feel like I really heard much from it in 2024. So I actually think he may have spent 2024 like putting this project together. I'm excited. Like I like Beans more than all these dudes out here. Like, and when I mean all of them, I'm talking about Drake, I'm talking about Kendrick, I'm talking about Cole. I'd rather hear him over hearing all these dudes. He's one of my favorite MCs.
I mean, it's Beans. I mean,
Beans
is one of them ones.
He is
That's
one of
what
those.
I'm saying.
Like, there's a lot of conversation on Twitter today talking about Beans and Jay on the same track, and was Beans smoking Jay on a lot of those tracks. I mean, people were they're still talking about that. Shout out to Low. I think he was saying that Beans never got the best of Jay on them tracks. I think
of course, Low gonna say that.
First of all, shout out to Low. That is incorrect. On the Becoming on its own, Beans got Jay.
That's my favorite collab of theirs. It's
their best collab because it's when Beans actually showed he's like, oh no, like ain't no more stunting on me.
And Jay had to take it to a place he usually doesn't take it. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to tell you the moment where it elevated when Jay, because at the end of one of the bars, Jay actually switches his flow on the very last bar, which actually throws the timing off, where he goes, "This is Jay every day, no days off."
So
nigga. And when Beans comes in and goes, "BC Fred Krueger niggas," when I heard him do that and catch it, even though it was off, and I was like, "Good night." I was like, he's like officially like all the way upper echelon. Good night. Yeah.
But on that collab that let me know that Jay had to raise his level, he switched his tone. During that era, Jay was rapper in a higher octave tone. He went back to that volume 1S tone to rhyme on that track with Beans, because he had to go a little bit darker, you know what I'm saying, to rhyme alongside Beans on that track.
Yeah. He was also going into that whisper flow too. He was going into that, you know, he was adopting that Philly whisper flow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those guys are influenced out of him.
Beans might have him on Streets Is Talking. He might have him on Where Have You Been.
That record's hard.
Because
I think he's got him on Where Have You Been. I think Streets is Talking is a draw, but Beans clicked on Jay's heels a whole. Do It Again. Beans is extremely close again. Like Jay really beat him on Do It Again with the flow. Like Beans' flow is
right.
It's just
Yeah,
not Jay.
Jay is crazy. Jay's crazy
Yeah,
on Do It Again.
it's not Jay level yet, because Jay level is like Big and Pac level in terms of the flow even back then. But he's been there. And if a lot of people need to understand, it's like if you think Jay the GOAT, it's like understand Beans is rhymed next to this guy seamlessly on multiple occasions. It's like you're not hearing some sort of succinct drop off in the craft of MCing.
No doubt. No doubt. I think Beans is the reason why Bleak never got a chance to really reach the heights
How
that
could you?
they
How
wanted
could you
him
do
to
that?
reach.
How can you do that? That's like back to the football conversation. That's like having Alex Smith starting for you while you're watching Patrick Mahomes in practice, and you're just like, hold on, are you sure we should? Like, hold on, like, you
Right.
sure we should? Like, no, I know this guy's steady, but it's like, you seeing what this dude doing in practice? You know what I'm saying? That's how they were talking about Mahomes. Andy Reid didn't have a choice but to start him. It's like Andy was like, give him time, give him time. The players were like, nah, coach, like, we on game number 10. We think this dude ready. Like, nothing against Alex. It's just Alex Smith don't have the natural gifts Mahomes got. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of the same thing with Bleak and Beans. It's not anything personal.
No, and Jay wanted Bleak to be the one. He was like the new improved Jay-Z. But then Bleak and Beans came out of nowhere and was like, nah, hold up.
I mean, you know, it's funny. I think Jay adversely affected Bleak and Beans just in different ways. I actually think he held up Bleak too high and didn't hold Beans up high enough.
I think because Beans didn't have the that appeal. Like even Jay said it, like, you know, Beans, I'm trying to put you on some game. You know, he was trying to get Beans to be more polished in that regard, because Beans was really street. He was so gutter.
He is, and we're going to talk about this because, you know, we're going to do our music anniversary on the Lox' first album. And, you know, when we have our music anniversaries, I try to go back and listen to the material that I don't just recall track for track offhand, because I never was a super big fan of the album. It has been a minute since I listened to it, but I can't front. I found myself listening to the album, and I kind of feel the same way about Beans that I feel about Styles and Chic on this record, because Kiss is more affable on the first record than they are. Why would you make these guys not do what they do well out the gate and then try to flip it a little bit? Reasonable Doubt is Jay doing what Jay does great out the gate. Ready to Die is Big doing what Big does well out the gate. Like, you get what I'm saying? There is, you know, we've got certain formulas and we update our formulas with the times. And so it just feels like to me that trying to stick guys like that and that formula on first go round instead of letting them ease into the transition. Like, think about this. Like, people forget Ready to Die, outside of Big Papa and Juicy, is a dark, dense, intense, gritty album. Don't ask me why I'm motherfucking stressed. My mama got cancer in her breast. Give me the baby rings and a #1 mom pendant.
Dark and gritty. Even the beats was sinister beats. It wasn't going to sell records if you did not have that crossover. You don't have One More Chance remix, you don't sell that much.
But Puff still let Big be. But Puff still let Big be big, is what I'm saying. The crack smoke made my brains feel so strange. Like, he still let Big talk his talk. He just gave him a couple of hit records, and so when I see a Beans, when I see a Styles, I'm like, sure, you don't just want to let them rap the way they want to rap and just sprinkle in a joint here or there, a little knock yourself out, a little in the club. You know what I'm saying? You sure?
It was hard to do that with Beans because you have Bleak side by side at that time, because Bleak was getting those more flashy beats, those more club related beats. You know what I'm saying? Because remember, Bleak was actually on tracks with Ja Rule, and Ja Rule was smoking his boots on those tracks. No disrespect intended. It's just that anybody that Jay put beside Bleak, that person ended up outshining Bleak and moving past Bleak. And that's no hit to Bleak. I think Bleak was a dope MC. You know, I mean, he came out, you know, who's the illest shorty alive, I confess. I'm like, yo, this guy, he might be the next one. But then you got to compete with Ja. You got to compete with Beans. And that's tough. That's tough.
He's a dope rapper. And so, And I've always said that about Bleak. Bleak's made a lot of records that I like, and he's done a lot of dope collaborations. He is one of, this is some per J too. He is one of the first like New York MCs to really come down here and get down with the MCs down here on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
He is, and I'm gonna give him credit for that. That's good business, and we appreciate the look from the Mecca. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But really, okay, so Bleak and Beans both have I wouldn't call it an issue. They're just not what I'd like to say star power charisma MCs.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
and here's where Bleak suffers and Beans shine. But Beans is just the type of MC that even when you hear him, you like, oh my God, like this motherfucker rap his ass off. He is a rapper's rapping ass rapper at the end of the day, even outside of all the street rhetoric. You know what I'm saying? Bullets hit your chest like a blunt rolled loose. I'm throwing niggas in they trunk like a roof.
Yeah.
like when he's talking like that, it's like, no, I want you talking like that.
Beans is crazy.
I don't want to hear you it's cool if you do that other stuff, but that ain't why we came to your party, fam.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I think it's always been that delicate balance, and I think Jay has just done a poor job of managing that, quite frankly, whether he's had solid talent in Bleak and all-time great talent in Beans, it just wasn't managed properly. But much like most all-time great players, most all-time great MCs aren't great executives for artists. It's rare that you get a Larry Bird that can lead a team to like an NBA Finals when he's like him and Bill Russell, like those guys are like rare in terms of being able to actually like be one of the greatest players of all time and then being able to lead teams somewhere. No, that's extremely rare, and so not perfect, but
Nas alluded to that on the remix to Let Nas Down, that made Nas proud. He was talking about Cole signing to Jay, and he said, "You already got Jay. He one of the greats, but it's hard for somebody great to tell somebody else how to be great." So you know what I'm saying?
But
because a great person looks at you, a great person looks at it, and it's like, why can't you do that? I can do that, right? Like
exactly.
I'll never forget when Kane was talking. He's like, I didn't understand how much people study my style until people came to me and started talking to me about my style. He was like, I was just doing it. I was like, I'll be damned. I was like, you was just doing that, like naturally? Like your flow is just like that when you hit the mic? You know how hard it is to rap like that? And he's pretty much saying, it's like, oh no, I was just,
here's why, Coop.
That's just how I spit.
Here's why, Coop. It's a difference between, it's a thin line between talented and gifted.
Yes.
That's the difference.
Oh, that's great.
Kane is gifted.
Kane is gifted.
Fact.
Right.
Fact. But guys, even with Jay was still flying. He was still building a plane while flying it, because you're talking about a time where Jay was still ascending. He wasn't at a space where he was in a place to say, okay, I can elevate, Bleak to be on par with me, or Beans to be on par with me. The field was totally different at that time, because you had lots breathing down your neck, pause. You had Nas still right there. You had X right there. You had all these other things around you where Jay had to get away from the fray. He didn't have time to bring those guys away from the fray along with him at the same time.
Well, also to that too, I think people forget this too, is that when Jay is telling you in '98, as far as progress, you'd be hard pressed to find another rapper hot as me, that was true. And so he was probably looking. Keep in mind, Beans is coming on. I think first time I heard Beans is Crew Love. What's that? Belly? That's 99, right?
98.
98? That's late 98, right?
November 98.
Right? November 98? Right.
Mm-hmm.
So think about November 98. It's not like Jay had been around for a long time, guys. It's November 98.
Right. And
Jay
that's a good point. That
96. It's been 2.5 years, barely, not even 2.5 years. And so
that's a good point that both of y'all made. That's a good point that both of y'all made, because Sean, Jay was talking about retirement from Reasonable Doubt from day one. He still was talking about retirement on Volume 2. So he was trying to push Bleak to the forefront, like, yo, he's the new improved Jay-Z. So he was, setting it up to get out of the way to let guys like Bleak and Beans have next. But I think he realized along the way at some point, like, they'll never achieve that. So I got to keep ascending. To your point, Sean, I got to keep ascending and really take it to where it needs to go, because, like basically when a guy says, we're not going to win this game unless I drop 40 or 50, so everybody get on my back. and I'm gonna carry you to this championship. Like I think Jay realized that at that point, but it's not for a lack of trying in the beginning because he wanted to step away.
Right.
Mm.
And it wasn't he couldn't leave it to Bleak. He just couldn't. The last
but Jay's too competitive. And like I said, we've all witnessed Kobe in his prime. Like, Kobe played the first quarter, try to get everybody involved or whatever. But shit, if you don't get your points within that first quarter and a half, he gonna
it's funny when you brought up the talented versus gifted comment. Kobe's actually the first person that I thought of because I think Kobe is that person that's actually right in the middle of that, where he's not as gifted as some of the other guys.
The work ethic.
But right, like he's on that talented, the gifted line, but that work ethic put him over there gifted. Like, and Jay is very much like that as well, because Jay is on that line of actually being talented as gifted. Like I'll tell you, I've always said this. Has just like if we're just talking about pure MCing, Kane is a more natural MC than all those dudes, and that includes Big and Jay. Like Big sounds like Kane on Life After Death in terms of the ease at which he is delivering on the mic. Kane was like that from jump. Big developed into that. Jay developed into that. Kane woke up like that.
And I'm glad we. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that was it. I was just saying, Kane came out the gate like that. That's gifted.
He did. My favorite Kane moment, and it's oddly enough, we was talking about Beans, is when he's freestyling over the Rock the Mic beat and in front of the crowd, and he drops the mic, and they think he dropped it for real. And he dusts it off. He was like, "I drop shit and still make it look good." You know what I mean? That was the flyest Kane moment ever to be right there. Crowd went crazy.
Gifted.
Yep, Kane is different, man.
Yeah,
different.
Let's get to a couple of these super chats and we'll move to the next topic. Mad Max, what up, Mad Max? $9.99. LOL. Well, they need Dot to use AI. They need Dot to use AI and help that trash sound he calls a voice that we hear on beats.
Yeah, Mad Max.
Boy, see, y'all be taking up for Mad Max, okay?
I'm not a fan of Kendrick's voice, but Kendrick's natural rapping voice is dope. It's the other stuff he does with it that I'm not a fan of.
I agree. Yeah. I find his regular rapping voice to be above average, but not great. CJ the Kid with the $5 super chat. By the way, Coop, RBX liked my preview of the Brooklyn interview and hit me with a link to his new album. You better hope I don't get an RBX interview. Okay.
Okay. He's on RBX interview. That's going to go crazy.
CJ, don't have me pull up in your neighborhood, homie.
Yeah. Shout out to RBX.
Pull up in 2025.
RBX going to break numbers. Shout out to RBX.
What up? CJ the Kid again, $10. Sean, you never said Che Noir wasn't the MC. And Coop, you're the one who mentioned that it was her probably. So if anything, I went out on a search mission for you. LOL, I'll roll the tape back in the Discord. I can neither confirm nor deny that happened, CJ. All right.
So?
And Sean being Sean, once again. Right. Mad Max, once again. Bleak voice isn't standoutish. And Beans, I mean, respectfully, you can't play that jailbird poetry.
Mad Max, man. Oh my goodness.
I can play Kiss around the chick at least one or two joints. What songs Beans got?
Jailbird poetry is a wild phrase.
First of all, jailbird poetry is disrespectful towards Beans.
That is very disrespectful.
But I like what he said about Bleak and his voice not being good enough. And Sean makes fun of me all the time. I call myself a Bleak apologist because I was actually, a pretty good Bleak fan. I thought Bleak was dope, but Bleak was just good enough at every category.
Good. Right, he's good. He's a good MC.
But he's like straight B's, or B minus. Like he's never in no category is Bleak a A. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's kind of what hurt him overall.
He doesn't have any A part of his game, but he has had some A moments, though.
True.
Yeah.
But usually it has another MC better than him attached to it.
I mean, got my mind right's a moment.
It is.
Who Want What with Beans is a moment. He's tough on there.
But sometimes he raises his level depending on the person he nominates to.
A lot of the Beans and J moments. Hypnotic. A lot of people don't remember the track Hypnotic with him and Beans.
Oh, that's a standout. But my favorite Bleak moment is the intro to Volume 2. He went off on that.
I don't like it.
Wow. That's crazy.
I've never loved that beat, and I always thought it was the most like how can you
Ooh.
start off your album with another dude rapping over a preem beat, and then you don't rap over a preem beat again? I'm not handing out hall passes. No.
So you don't like the preem beat, or you just don't like Bleak rhyming over the preem beat?
I don't
Would
love.
you have rather it been Jay? Would you like it if it was Jay?
I'd probably love that beat much more if it was Jay, but it's not. And why
Bleak
is
went
he
off.
starting?
Screw good, not pitching the PJ. Like, come on, bro.
Why
Like,
is
Bleak went off.
starting off a Jay-Z album over a DJ Premier beat? Somebody.
Well, he gave you the disclaimer. He said, "Nah, it ain't Jay. It's Lil Nigga Bleak." He let you know in the first bars it wasn't Jay. You know.
Man, just because you let me know this about the rain outside doesn't mean my black ass is not going to get wet when I step outside. I don't give a goddamn. All right, we're going to move to the next topic.
That's crazy.
Clipse previewed this song last year at Fashion Week, fellas, the Whips and Chains, but apparently there's a remix that is about to drop with one Kendrick Lamar on there, and there are even some rumors that there might be some more Drake jabs involved on the remix by Pusha and Kendrick. Sean, you're
Why
the petty
not?
one. Thoughts?
Why not? It's funny because UMG copyright actually stated that Kendrick is on this actual song that's coming out on the Clipse album. So they were the ones who
Very shady. Are they the one that are they out? Is UMG dry snitching?
Purposely. They're really trying to get under the boys' skin.
so they like, that's why these niggas got a track about you, and we about to let everybody know.
Yeah, just because you're mad, we're gonna go ahead and let you know that, hey, by the way, Kendrick is on this song.
Look, your rivals are teaming together to take you down, and we're literally co-signing it in the document.
Right.
If you want to play games.
Crazy.
Oh, bad.
Dope beat, man. Dope beat. I'm hoping that Kendrick is actually on this, and I do hope that they are riding on Drake, to be quite honest. I wonder if Jimmy is going to sing it, because I think this is the actual joint that Jimmy did a freestyle to going at Pusha. Remember with Jimmy, I know it came and went real fast.
Right. Yep.
Jimmy actually dissed Pusha right after this joint came out, and he was actually, saying why Pusha on stage, gallivanting or whatever, imposing.
He was talking about Pusha. I mean, Pusha was talking about Jim's house getting repossessed, right? In those bars.
I think so.
Yeah.
Jim went straight to the streets, man, and goons, and just went crazy on Push, but Push never responded or did anything with it. So I hope that Drake and Jim get a response on this actual joint, to be quite honest.
Jim got some bigger problems going on at home that he need to tend to than Pusha T.
I think he
need to take care of Uptown first. I think need to take care of Uptown first. Looks like you got a couple issues. It looks like.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think with this track, since No Malice is a man of God, I think Pusha and Kendrick are gonna finish burying Drake, and then No Malice might come through and do the eulogy.
You want to know?
That'd be crazy, bro. That would be crazy.
So first of all, Sean, to the original version of this actual record, you're right. The beat is actually crazy, and when I actually went back to it, I was like, Pusha is probably underrated as a curator in terms of how he puts features together. Because when I listen to this beat, I'm like, this is coming from me. I'm like, this is perfect for Kendrick to slide on. This is the perfect beat for Kendrick to ride on. Like all his little twists and turns and rhythmic cadences and style. I can see him bouncing on this beat in a way that we would enjoy. You know what I'm saying? And so when I think about this, and then I think about this whole lawsuit that's going on, it's like, oh no, do not. These two guys, especially Pusha, they're sinister when they dig in. See, we're just finding out that Kendrick can dig in. We know Pusha can dig in, and and it's not like they haven't slid on a record very well together before. See Nostalgia, which is one of the best duo pairings of the past 15 years in terms of a song. It's up there. It's better than Drug Dealers Anonymous.
Oh, for sure. When they're walking down the dark alley, they said Drake be seeing that in his dreams.
Right.
Kendrick.
It's better than what would Meek do. Like, it's better than a lot of these collabs. Like, so when they get together, it hasn't happened but so often, but it's been special when it does happen. And I imagine this to be that. And the original version of the song is just so beautiful. Like, how like Malice, No Malice, and Pusha can still exist on the record together, despite
Yeah,
obviously,
absolutely.
and it almost makes you feel like, it very much you very much feel like the first time I heard the record, I was like, this is like the God and the devil having a conversation.
Yeah.
That was my
Very much.
thought. It's like you get the sinister and then you get the sacrament. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
Yeah.
But
And I'm
but
very
like you
much
said, Coop
forward.
is the perfect pocket though. It reminds me
Yeah,
of numbers on the boards for Push, like that pocket that it's in.
Mm-hmm.
yes, very much so. And
Mm-hmm.
beat wise, I find to be comparable and on that level too. I think the beat's getting understated. I think when the actual beat gets released, like not over stadium speakers with some slight distortion as we've been having to listen to it, I think when people actually hear the beat, they're gonna be like, "Whoa!"
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm excited about the record. Drake, you can keep your OVO jacket. You had your chance. Um, Back to home team. Shout out to Pusha T and the Clipse. Can't wait for the album. I was really hoping their album would drop last year. All right, on to anniversaries. Unless we have
Can I ask y'all something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick, who do you think is going to have the best feature between, if they already confirmed Nas, Stove God, and looks like we're getting Kendrick? Who do you think is going to have the best feature on that
Stove.
album?
Stove.
For the type of talk that's going to be done on the album, I'm with
I was about
Stove
to say,
too.
I'm picking Stove just because of rhetoric, and quite frankly,
Yeah.
I'm saying this in jest, and I'm saying this seriously. Well, of all these modern day dope boys MCs, well, they've all sought Pusher out, and we all have records with all of them except for Stove. Think about it. No, we got Benny records and Gibbs records and Currency, and like, no, Pusha's giving all of these guys like some heat,
Mm-hmm.
but like him and Stove, I find that to be a fascinating pairing.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be
Like
tough.
I feel like Nas and Kendrick are going to do what we expect Nas and Kendrick to do. Like
Mhm.
they're exceedingly great. They're supposed to be exceedingly great in moments like these. They're going to deliver something that's exceedingly great. Like I expect Kendrick's verse on here to be 10 times better than that like that verse that people overrate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like because
Yeah.
he's rapping Pusha T and No Malice, not with Future. Like you're not about
Yeah.
to yeah.
Right.
Your bar work look, your
Yeah.
bar work better be like it's like on Nostalgia, because if you got Push, you got him by a hair and it took everything you had. Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
That's his best
Yeah.
feature verse.
It is
Pretty-
his
By
best.
far. It's not even
I don't know that in the city. The city with Game, he went crazy.
he did, but it's
He
not
went crazy.
nostalgia though.
Not
Nostalgia clears.
Nostalgia. He was
Nostalgia does
nostalgia.
clear.
He was confident in who he was by that time.
I mean, how
The
about
city,
this?
Yeah, he would.
he was like, I got to get my name on the map.
I mean, lyrically speaking, Nostalgia might be the best like pairing by two MCs of the last 15 years. If we just talking bar for bar,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
Nostalgia.
they were damn near dead even.
Like that is a bar seminar. Like
Yeah,
their verses are bar.
absolutely.
Both
Yeah.
of the verses are bar
That's
seminars. Yeah.
That's next week. That's
Yeah.
the next
I
week.
mean, like, think about it. Like, when's the last time we got a record with two guys where both of the verses are verse of the year contenders?
Yeah.
But I'll give Kendrick the edge because of the intricacy of the verse.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's just the bravado of him too.
So here's the thing. I always gave Pusha credit for setting Kendrick up for success because he did the West Coast layout for Kendrick when he sent him the track, like Doughboy to Trey. If he cries,
Yeah.
he cries. Throwing punches in his room. We don't drink
If he
away.
does.
Like
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is Simon Says. Simon Red has in
Yeah.
Suge. You get what I'm saying? He did set
Yeah.
Kendrick up to
Yeah.
kind of like,
Yeah,
you know.
absolutely.
So
As a collab should be. As a collab should be.
but that's what I mean about Pusha
Yeah.
being underrated as a curator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, because he set Kendrick up for success. Think about it. How many people are confident enough to set Kendrick up for success on a record? Who else is doing that other than Push? You think these other dudes gonna set Kendrick up for success?
No, not like
Not
that.
like
Right.
that. No.
And that's why Nostalgia is his best feature, because he really actually thought about the person. Pusha thought about the guy he
Yeah.
was making the record with, instead of just being like, here, rap over this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 Special moment. All right, we're gonna go to anniversaries now. Money, Power, Respect by the Locks dropped on January 13th, 1998. I'm gonna let you guys kind of take it. I have a lot of thoughts and reflections about this album. I was not a big fan of this album when it came out. I will tell you, and we'll just take it from here, and I'm gonna let you guys take off with this. AG, you can kick us off. My biggest problem with this album is that the song that actually bears the album's title is bigger than the album in hip hop lore. Go, AG.
I can agree with that statement. The album is not a classic by any means, but it was very refreshing because it came at the right time because the shiny suit era was only like a couple years if we really think about it. You know what I'm saying? Like 97, 98, you know, going into most of 98 at the max. And this was a this was a nice change of pace because I think after Big Pass and then you get No Way Out with Puff and then you get Harlem World with Mace, I think this Locks album is kind of hitting the reset button a little bit. You know what I mean? Even though it's not a classic, it's taking it kind of back to, you know, like what we needed to hear at the time. It didn't have as much gloss on it as the Harlem World and then the No Way Out. You know what I'm saying? To like real rapping, because I mean that transition period. Yeah, you know, Big had more money, more problems on Life After Death, but the whole album wasn't glossy like that. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot of street stuff on Life After Death, and I think the Locks album is kind of hitting the reset button, taking it back to that vibe a little bit as far as the Bad Boy run is concerned. But overall, it's a solid album. I think shit, Bitches from Eastwick is one of the most underrated storytelling tracks in hip hop ever. It's one of my favorites.
Easy.
Okay, hold on, AG. Not to cut you off. I feel that way about the Heist Part 1.
The Heist Part 1 is fire too. But you know, I I just love it because you need all three of their verses to complete the picture and tell the full story. You know what I'm saying? And I just think that it's an underrated album. It's not a classic, but I think it doesn't get the praise that it deserves a lot of times. It's a lot of gems on the album. But you are right, Coop. The song itself is the single is larger than the whole album.
Mm-hmm. It
But
actually makes
and for the record, Sheik was my favorite during this era until Jada just had the run of the Rough Riders compilation, We Are the Streets, and his solo album. But prior to the Rough Riders era stuff, Sheik was my favorite in the group.
I
He had
think
the most style to me.
I'm about to say I think Sheik embodied what we were taught to look at in an MC more than Jada and Styles were more reclusive early on, even though I thought they were even lyrically inclined more so than Sheik early on. He did have more of the star personality, which I still think is actually true to this day. I think
He did.
Jada just got more comfortable over time. You know,
Mhm.
Sheik is a natural star. He just don't like the industry like that. You know what I'm saying? But as far as my take on this album, I think this album, quite frankly, is actually the mark of the beginning of the end of the Bad Boy era. Actually, and
Yep.
this is actually Puff's worst debut album job as an executive producer. The
Okay.
production on this album, fellas, the production on this album to me sounds like the leftovers from Life After Death, Harlem World, and No Way Out. Like whatever was left after those three albums were made were what the Locks were left with production wise, and it's not up to par. And it's not till you get to track 11, the Heist Part 1, which by the way is where the Jada Kiss and Styles back and forth first starts for the first time that we hear on a record that's
Mhm.
not a mixtape. That's the birth of the back and forth between the two of them is the Heist Part 1. Well, until the Heist Part 1 comes on, you don't really know who these guys are. They're just guys like carrying the bad boy flag around. There's no personality. There's no vibe to it. There's no feel to it outside of Money, Power, Respect. That first set of 10 tracks outside of Money, Power, and Respect, there's not a great song. There's not a standout record. Production is subpar. When they started reaching outside of the bad boy box, on the latter half of the album is when the album takes off. The Heist Part 1. Um, what's the other one? Not to be fucked with.
Mhm.
Bitches from Eastwick. All
Mm-hmm.
for the Love. That
Mhm.
stretch of songs makes this album worthwhile. Prior to that, outside of the title track, it's not a worthwhile experience. And I'm going to tell you why. There's the production. Jadakiss hasn't found himself as an MC on this album until the second half of the album, and he is their front man and really has always been. And this team has always gone the way that he is gone, and he is still figuring it out on this album, and that's exactly what this album sounds like. It sounds like they're still figuring it out. But when they figured it out, we got We Are the Streets.
True. There's no clear star on this album. You do got a good point with that. There's no, clear
Yeah,
front man.
Kiss isn't Kiss yet. Kiss doesn't take over this album MC wise until the second half of the album. That's when he really starts rapping. And even the rapping that you're hearing, I've always said this. It's like that guy didn't pop out until Blackout. You know what I'm saying? That's November of this year, not January of this year. So the Kiss that you're hearing on this album isn't the Kiss that you hear later this year. If that guy is on this album, we having a different conversation, but he's not. So we are.
That's true. Everybody's on the same level, even on tracks that's not on, the mixtape joints that's not on the album. You'll see the joint with Big, joints like that. When they're all rhyming, everybody is like, it's nobody's.
Like if you told me Styles was the best rapper on this album, I'd be like, okay. If you told me Sheek was the best rapper on this album, I'd be like, okay. If you told me Kiss was the best rapper on this album, I'd be like, okay. The best Locks bar on this album is on Money, Power, Respect. I sneeze on tracks and bless you. It's the best hotline on the album. That's not good enough for what they are capable of.
I think this album struggled to hit us during that time because of what it came off the heels of. Like you said, Cool, you're talking about, No Way Out. You're talking about the success of Life After Death. All of that happened in 97. And that carryover from 97, you talking about this album came out January to this week of 98. The carryover clouded a lot of this because you got to think about the inception of this album. This album probably was made in 97 during all of that time where the focus, Puffy wasn't focusing on this album. He was focusing on No Way Out. Mace Harlem World was going crazy at the time. You got Harlem World, you got No Way Out, and you got Life After Death, all in 97. And now you're going to drop this at the top of 98. Everything else didn't get a chance to breathe. Now, not to mention, you're in the inception of making Black Rob first debut album. Because remember, Life, what is it?
Life Story.
Life Story was actually made really in the beginning of back in the 97, early 98, because we had a review on Life Story. It was a 5 mic. Remember, it's a 5 mic album in the source.
4.5.
It was 4.5.
It was 4.5. Hold
Okay.
on. The original Life Story without Woe on it got 4.5 mics.
4.5. And they had to go back and revisit it because it was prematurely leaked as a review. It didn't come out until 99. So you're talking about a lot happening in that short span of time. Not to mention, Bad Boy was also dealing with 112, who was dropping a classic album, in my opinion, at this time. So
Sean, may I interject from having personal knowledge of this, from knowing Rob, knowing Rob's people, like rest in peace to Rob.
Yeah, rest in peace to Rob. Yeah.
The project was done, and when Puff listened to it, he looked at Rob and was like, I'm not releasing this until you make me a banger. And so the only records that ended up on there that weren't already made in 97 and 98 were Espacio with Kim and Whoa. Everything else was already there. I Dare You, Jasmine, Can I Live, Down the Line Joint, Life Story, Looking at Us with CeeLo. These records were done, and these records were phenomenal. Life Story is 10 times than
I'm glad you brought that up, Son, because when it came back to me, I was going to bring that up because to me, that's a bigger indictment on the Lox album, how good Black Rob's album was versus the Harlem World and No Way Out and stuff, because they're commercially successful big albums. But as far as like the Lox and their rapping ability and then the product that they put together, I think Black Rob's album superseding that by a lot is more of an indictment on the Lox album for me,
Well, how about this? I'm about to fuck your head up with what I'm about to tell you. Well, during that time, Rob's the second best rapper on Bad Boy, actually, after Big. It's not Kiss or Styles or Sheek. Rob's a better rapper than them at that time.
I was going crazy.
Rob's a better rapper than they are at that time. People forget that. That's why I'm talking about that jump that Kiss took. That happened at the end of 98. The Styles jump happened in 99.
But 98 Mace was nice, though.
Harlem World is dope. Harlem World is dope. Harlem World is not Life Story end to end, song to song. It's got
No.
the bangers. It's not in Life Story.
It's better
Respect
with the
is not-
commercial songs.
Money, Power,
It's
Respect is
constructed
not
better. It's
touching Life
constructed better.
Story. And you want to know what's crazy? Can I live featuring the Locks on Life Story is better than everything on Money, Power, and Respect, except the record Money, Power, and Respect.
I agree with that.
Everything on that album.
I
Can I
agree
live
with
is
You
a
got
banger.
DMX outshining them though. You got DMX outshining them on that. That's the thing. Like you
Money,
got
Power,
I
Respect.
mean, X is stunting on everybody not named Jay and Nas in '98.
listen.
I'm sorry, but Money, Power, Respect. I think Kim with the hook takes it even over X's verse.
He did. Kim
Kim's the star of the
being
show.
the veteran.
It's the hook.
Yeah.
It's
Kim
the hook.
being the veteran and being the draw to it, it brings a different, umph to it, right? But again, you got so many things, and Super had just put something in the chat. I was going to that where the beats selection for Money, Power, Respect is the biggest problem because the production wise, it wasn't living up to what Puffy was already doing.
Oh,
And I don't think they knew what to do with the Rocks because you got, again, they were the Warlocks, right? You're talking about 3 super MCs from the hood, and they might be the most disrespectful and the most flagrant and the most aggressive one on that roster at that time because Rob knew how to blend it. Rest in peace, Rob. Rob knew how to blend it. Rob had a little bit of that Harlem swagger, so he knew how to really swag that thing out, right? Pause. But with the Locks, because they were so rough and rugged, it makes sense for them to fit under that Rough Riders banner as opposed to Bad Boys banner because it just didn't fit. You can tell they were trying to figure their way out. It just didn't fit.
They're not on Bad Boy if Big doesn't stamp them during that era before he passed.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Because I feel like, that, and I think I've heard them say it as much in interviews that, a lot of that, Puff, to your point, Sean, that Puff didn't know how to market them, but Big kept stamping them as MCs. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so this is where I'm not going to give Puff a pass. If you
we shouldn't give him a lot of passes for the record. Like he don't need no passes at all anywhere.
Not joking.
No.
If you can take Christopher Wallace from Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, and make him into a sex symbol, don't tell me that you don't know what to do with the Locks. Respectfully,
Big is different, Coop.
If you can take no. Listen to what I'm about to say about Puff. If you can take faux country ass niggas from Charlotte, North Carolina, and make them into the biggest R&B group of the decade. If you can take a chick from Yonkers, a hood chick from Yonkers who really can't sing like that yet, and make her into an icon, and you're telling me this guy don't know what to do with the Locks album? I'm not. No. Mm-mm.
Well, I'm gonna harken back to what I said earlier. All those people, there's a difference between talented and gifted.
Oh yeah, KC gifted. Mary's gifted. Mary's soul is gifted.
Big is gifted. The Locks are talented.
Say less. Yep. I like that. We can leave it right there unless y'all got something y'all want to add.
No.
All right, cool. On to the news. Shout out to DefJam, your whack ass. LiAngelo Ball signs a DefJam for $8 million, guys. So when we get in the studio to get a track to submit to DefJam, so we can get millions of dollars we don't deserve. Go, Sean.
This shows you how the currency of DefJam has gotten so low. We used to talk about DefJam, Loud Records, Death Row, these historical record labels, and how great they were for hip hop and how they were the foundation for hip hop. And DefJam was one of those, actually one of the front runners, if you will, when it comes to like the excellence of hip hop at its core. And now you're starting to see how the currency of DefJam is no more. Again, I'm not going to sit here and cap and be like, yo, Tweaker is a vibe. To me, it's not. DefJam is tweaking for signing LiAngelo Ball for Tweaker because he could make probably more money by streaming this song that he has on streaming services and let the people vibe out to it or have fun to it or whatever they want to do to it. But the fact that DefJam went and got this based off of that song and going to sign him to, I think, about $8 million or something like that, that he have to hit some points and all of that stuff just to be able to continue to move forward. Wow. We're not going to be talking about this next year. By the end of this year, also by the summertime, we're not going to be talking about LiAngelo Ball. I'm being honest with you. And DefJam, shame on you, because you were the actual standard, the gold standard when it comes to hip hop, and now your currency is as low as Japanese yen in 2026. So hopefully, the people will love it. I guess I don't like it. I'm not going to say I do. It's trash, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. So yeah, whatever.
Well, I'm gonna disagree, Sean. I'm gonna push back a little bit.
You like Tweaker? I get it.
I think that.
Hold on, AG. Do you like Tweaker?
He loves it.
No, I'm gonna allude to something. Like, I think when they interview LL again and they ask him who's on the Mount Rushmore of Def Jam, now we got a legitimate case for LiAngelo. I think he makes it on the Mount Rushmore of Def Jam right there beside LL, the Beasties, whoever.
Quick,
you know what I mean?
Public Enemy.
Yeah.
Nas, Jay, Redman, DMX, Method Man.
Yeah. So when they ask him again next year, LL, who's on the Def Jam Mount Rushmore, I think you got to name LiAngelo. I think it's only right.
Are you done? Let me know.
He said that. He really likes Tweaker. He texted me. He was like, "Yo, man, this is the one." He got one.
The only thing that I really have to say, gentlemen, is that one time Cool G Rap took Nas to Def Jam, and they felt like Nas wasn't Def Jam worthy.
Yeah.
And here we are in this world that we live in now, where Nas wasn't worthy in the world that we grew up in for Def Jam in the beginning, but a novice Nas, who by the way, it was more advanced than half the rappers who had ever lived when he was only a novice, couldn't get a deal out of Russell. But these whack ass motherfuckers signed LiAngelo Ball, the same Def Jam. It's the same company imprint.
Yeah.
Now
it's two stories behind that. Russ said he sounded too much like G-Rap, but
G-Rap don't
Clark
sell
Kent.
no records. I remember the comment, and G-Rap don't sell no records. That's what Russell said.
Yeah, and rest in peace to Clark Kent. Clark Kent said that he would have signed Nas, but Nas didn't have a demo, and the rules of the engagement was back then that you had to have a demo to get signed.
True. That's not true, because that's not how Kane got signed.
So I'm just telling you what Clark said. Rest in peace, Clark. But that's what he said.
Rock Kim got signed. But okay, Clark, rest in peace. But that's not accurate or true. That's some bullshit, is what that is. AZ
he found his way there eventually anyway. So
AZ got signed off a verse off Illmatic, talking about you need a demo back then, right?
Yeah.
Straight.
Maybe that was just a Def Jam rule. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, nobody cares about your rules. You guys suck. I'm gonna let you know that you suck.
Mount Rushmore, LiAngelo.
We're gonna.
That is crazy.
Unfortunately, we're gonna have to do the rest.
Quick question. Before we get off topic, who do you think has a better chance? LiAngelo to get on the Def Jam Mount Rushmore, or LaMelo or Lonzo to get on the NBA all-time Mount Rushmore? Who has the better chance?
LaMelo and Lonzo. They actually have talent at what they do.
Right.
They have a skill set.
We're not going to be talking about LiAngelo, but
LaMelo is going to be the starting point guard for the East at some point, like soon, like probably next year.
Very soon.
Lonzo, if his knee actually does recover, was a upper half point guard, has in a top 15 point guard in this league when he was playing. Their brother sucks at rap, and I usually don't encourage this type of behavior, because the thing that I've always loved about hip hop is that you can always like take a lifestyle that might be a little bit more nefarious and transfer and translate into a more legitimate type of field. But I really think he should try selling drugs instead, because he sucks at rap. So that's.
Well, he already did try something nefarious, and that didn't work out well. So
he was stealing overseas, wasn't he?
Some shades.
I don't know. I just he should probably push some weight, because rap ain't it. There's,
This is crazy.
Don't be mad. Yes, is hiring.
Def Jam Mount Rushmore.
This is crazy.
You heard it here first.
Tweaker is
definitely.
more crazy in West Virginia, though. That's where most of the streams are coming from. So
We do got a lot of tweakers though. While you play,
Let's talk about
what is tweaking. What is tweaker? What is a tweaker?
I mean, down here, when somebody tweaking down here, we talking about somebody that's cracked out.
That's what I thought. That's what I'm saying. Like I thought that's what
it means to be tweaking down here. If you tweaking down here, like how about this? Like it's like this. Like if you geeked up, it's like we.
It's a lot of meth down here.
It is,
and I'm not talking about METHOD man. I ain't talking about Woo.
Right.
No, it really is. It really
right.
is.
Like there's geeked up and there's
talk about Walter Wright, Jesse.
Right. Yeah. Breaking Bad. All right.
Yeah.
Look here, we're gonna actually go to something that I actually No. We changing the subject. We're not about to stay here. We're not gonna stay in the sunken place. All right, we're not. All right. We're gonna move to Cam and Jim Jones. And Cam was right. And I'm gonna just go ahead and start this off by saying this. Thank you, Cam, for saying that you're not gonna do this anymore. Because on behalf of hip hop, we're tired of hearing you niggas do it. Like, we're tired of it. We're over it. I don't know where this started. You know, one thing that I love about Cam is super informational, guys.
Yes.
Like when Cam start running it down to you, Cam really run it down to you because he was really there because Cam was really outside. So when Cam starts freestyling in podcast mode, like he's like, "No, fam." He's like, "I'm not being funny. You're not from here. I'm from 140th and Lenox. These dudes is right here. They 2 blocks up." He start running it down and he start talking fast, and you like, oh shit. Like that's when reality sets in the situation and people can't lie anymore. It's like when your reflex memory kicks in. He's like, "I'm not being funny. You're not from the neighborhood." Boom, 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 and he starts breaking it down. The truth hit different when somebody's tone is different. Cam don't talk like that anymore.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Cam don't run it down like he was talking fast, like he was back in the streets again. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how you talk when you're in the streets because everything is happening fast. You moving fast. You thinking fast. The reactionary time is fast. He was talking to him. He's like, no. He's like, he's from the Bronx. His grandmother died. He's like, no. Rest in peace to his grandmother, but he's really from the Bronx. He just got gifted his house because his grandmother's from Harlem. I'm like, ooh, these are. You know, it ain't sounding like lies, man. He's running down the tape of like Mace taught me how to rap. Mace taught me how to rap. Mace taught me how to rap. And I'm thinking like, well, I know Children of the Corn, Big L, Murder Mace, Killer Cam, and McGruff. It's like, no, I never heard of Jim. You know, so when Cam starts speaking, and if you know your hip hop history, it's like then you start asking yourself, damn, when did Jim pop up? And then he's calling him Joe. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, he done known this nigga for a long time. Yeah. And he's super comfortable with it. And so he just handled it in a manner that I was like, and I don't want to get into some of the business that like he discussed in terms of how he ran it down, because that's between them. But the way that he talked about the business made me go, oh, like Cam ain't the type of dude, because Cam is the type of dude that even if he don't like you, he give you props. Like he, you know, like him and Jay haven't always had the best relationship, but he was speaking highly of Jay in this. He's like, no, when I met Jay when I was a teenager, he's like, no, Jay had money. Jay had piranhas and fish tanks sitting on the wall in his crib and was pushing like 2, 3, like, you know, he'll give you your due because he was really outside. He even talked about how Dame and one of Dame's right hand man kind of pushed him out of the hustle game that he was in with them a little bit. Like Cam's honest. Mm-hmm. He's like, yeah, they kind of big dog me and like push me to the side. He letting you know, look, that shit happen when you coming up in the dope game. Your OG would be like, nah, nigga, this playing for you. Go, you know, I already gave you enough to go get your own work.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Cam is honest. And so when Cam be talking, it's like, oh, I don't be siding with the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now when Cam be talking, Cam be saying some real shit.
He breaks it down.
He do. He don't hesitate. There was a reason Mace was sitting there with the popcorn. He like, oh, I know this dude since we was 10. I already know where this going.
Yeah.
That's why Mace was sitting there like that. He's like, I know this dude since we was kids.
Yeah.
We from the neighborhood. We from the same block. Oh, I already know what he about to do. He been doing this since we was kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I realized something too. New York is much more territorial because of the condensed space. When he said 140th and Lenox and then started shouting up the blocks, I realized, Oh, he wasn't talking 2-3 exits 15 minutes up the road like when you in Atlanta. Like when you in Atlanta, oh no, you can be on Campbellton and get to Camp Creek easy, but it ain't 2 blocks up the road where you can walk. You feel what I'm saying? Oh no, you're gonna have to ride up Campbellton towards Ben Hill and then make that left down the back road and then ride that up 4 miles and then bust that right. Then you on Camp Creek. You still on the south side, but you ain't 2 blocks away. Cam talking like these niggas was right here. These niggas was right here. Me and Mace and L was right here. You wasn't right here. And then I realized when he was saying that, oh no, he really meant right there. Like, see, down here is different. It's like, I grew up on the east side, but you know, the east side stretch from Moreland Avenue all the way up to Lithonia Stone Mountain. There's different parts of the east side. So it's like somebody can tell you that they're from the east side, and you'll be like, what part? When you in New York, it's like, oh no, I'm from 140th and Lenox. What block you from? Because you can probably walk to where the nigga is from. That's different. That's different.
Yeah. It's an interesting dichotomy between those two. Because the things that Cam was saying, and he was very methodical in his approach.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He really broke it down.
Very practical. Very practical.
Very. He was speaking on blocks and time periods, showing like the history of when Jim came through. And
right.
he said it without saying it. Like, Jim, you jumped on the bandwagon when you saw that we were going somewhere with this.
No, he straight up called him a fan. He called him that.
He called him a fashionable. He called him a fashionable guardian angel. When he called him a fashionable guardian angel. And when he said that, I'm like, yo, that was crazy. But I heard something that Mace said, and you know what? I applaud Mace for not saying anything at all but eating popcorn, because Mace actually said on an interview this week, apart from that, when he said that he tried to get them both on the phone to talk this thing out. Now, granted, Jim been going at Mace for years, very disrespectful. And Mace said the reason why he didn't say anything because he's trying to get Cam to not go down that road anymore. And he said he was trying to get Cam and Jim on the phone together. And then when he realized that wasn't going to happen, he had nothing to say. Because I'm sure Mace could have said a lot and continue to fuel that that flame that Cam had. But he allowed Cam to shoot the clip out. He didn't give him any more ammo. He just sat back and ate the popcorn. I respect that to the fullest, because he could have really jumped down that road as well, because Jim was more disrespectful to Mace than he has been to Cam.
Oh, yeah. Crazy. Talking wild about me.
Crazy. But I do have a question for both of you, because at one point, you know, Jim was kind of carrying that Dipset flag. We can call him whack, but at one point, he was really carrying that flag when Cam was going through those things. And he was the one that was out there stomping it out for Dipset during that era. You know,
now, okay, so let me tell you how I feel about that, and I'm glad that you're bringing it up. One, let's give Jim his props. He made the biggest hit single that ever came out of the camp. So we're gonna give him his props. He's not a rapper by trade, the way a Mace, a Cam, definitely not Big L on the mic. But he made the biggest hit, arguably, to ever come out of the Harlem since Rob Bass made It Takes Two, quite frankly. Seriously, in terms of like iconic rap.
I wouldn't say
nah, because you got Puff and, you know what I'm saying, the Mace Bad Boy.
I don't count Puff. And what Mace single's bigger than Ballin', in your opinion?
It Feels So Good was pretty.
It's not bigger than Ballin'.
No, not culturally. No, it wasn't bigger than Ballin'.
That's why I'm saying Ballin' is culturally like still in our framework. Like if you put in Ballin',
but I don't think you can just like push Puff over to the side like that, though. I mean, Benjamin's is a thing.
I'm not pushing Puff over to the. How about this? As far as the MC craft is concerned, even though Jim isn't a traditional MC, because even when you're talking Benjamins, no, that's a posse cut. Like that's why I'm saying Rob Bass, like a rapper making a song, like by himself, essentially.
I think Old Boy was one of those too. Old Boy was something.
Ooh, I give you Old Boy. I think
Old Boy is close.
bigger than Old Boy, and Old Boy has jewels on it.
Yeah, he was.
It's close. I would say
That's what I'm saying.
Ballin edges it because Ballin was like, I think that was before viral like was really a thing. But if Ballin came out present day with it, that would be a viral song. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
A TikTok type,
It would be
thing.
just as
Right.
big now as it was then, if not
Yeah.
bigger.
Yeah. I see where you're going with it, Coop, but that still don't give him
I'm
the
not saying that. How about this? I'm not saying that there are bigger records. That aren't bigger records that have come out of Harlem because Puff has a lot of stuff. But I'm think about a solo shot that's iconic in hip hop lexicon. It's like, no, Ballin's up there, and you really do gotta maybe go back to It Takes Two to think about a song coming out of Harlem from one artist rapping over the entirety of the song by themselves to find an iconic record like that. Because even the Mace records got some help.
Yeah,
Like,
but Ballin had massive help too, though. That's Max B's pen. You know, Max B's even
thank
opened
you. Yeah. But
that's
I don't care. Like, forget all that. I don't care if it is the biggest hit to come out of Harlem. Like, that doesn't give you the passport to talk reckless about the person who, one, taught you how to rap in the first place, or two, the person who put you in position to even be successful, to, you know what I'm saying, make it to those heights.
But what I was about to actually speak to, AG, is that, well, did he take over by default? Because the way it's been broken down to me, well, Cam's mom got sick, and about her health, he moved down to Florida to be able to care for her.
Mhm.
And so, well, you a stand up guy or you not? Because if you know that your man's mom is sick and that he got to leave town and take care of her, you're supposed to carry the torch. And so when people talk about holding Dipset down, it's like, well, you did what a stand up guy is supposed to do. Like, kudos to you, but like,
Right.
let's
It's
not
like,
overplay it though. You did
yeah,
what
it's like, nigga, you want a cookie? Like, you know what I'm saying? If the star player go out the game with a sprained knee or whatever, and you the like second best player on the squad, you're supposed to step up and get
right.
buckets. Like,
Your 20 points need to turn into 25, 30. Right.
exactly. So it's like, come on, man.
But here's what I say, because when Cam was talking, I'll always go back to the first time that I ever heard them really talk about the breakup, and I'll never forget what Cam said the first time that he really talked about the breakup, at least that I can recall, and he was like, "I made a joke about Chrissy," and I
yeah.
was like, he made a joke about Chrissy, and keep in mind, this is when Jim and Chrissy had first started dating. Cam said he made a joke. It was like, I think he's like, "Oh, you in love with the whatever, or you in love with this B or
Mhm.
whatever," and they had only been dating for like 2 weeks, and Jim felt some type of way that Cam said that, and I'm thinking to myself, I thought y'all were boys that came up together. And it wasn't until Cam broke it down today, I was like, oh, y'all
That
wasn't
makes sense.
boys that came up together. And that's why Jim took it like that, because Jim know that he not folks too. That's why he took that shot that way. You feel me? Because it's like, I
Yeah.
always thought that was funny. It's like, oh no, I thought y'all all came up together. Like, it's supposed to be a little tighter than tougher than that, especially if you just started dating her. Even if you think she's the one, it's like you shouldn't necessarily just X your man out. You just need to tell your man, like, hey, I like this one. Don't be speaking about it that way, and keep the shit pushing. You feel what I'm saying? The fact that he took it so personally, I never understood until Cam broke down, like, oh no, fam from the Bronx and grandma passed and started pulling up on us and all that. And I'm like, oh, so he's hypersensitive to this because he got invited into the crew because he kind of wanted to be down with the Kings.
Well, the reason why this started again, I think, highlighted that they wasn't really like that as far as like, family, because they were clowning and joking about 50 saying like, oh, I think I can get the Jim strategically in the battle. And if Cam and Jim were really like that, you know what I'm saying? Like brothers, you know what I'm saying? For real,
Okay,
would
okay.
have 50 been able to pull that move,
So
even if
Yeah.
it was a look for Jim. You know what
Yeah.
I'm
what
saying?
I mean about New
Yeah.
York being small, though, AG, like smaller than people think. It's like, oh no, 50 probably knew that through the grapevine because 50 been around for a long time, guys, and we know that. 50
Yeah, but
probably knew. Like, that nigga Jim is really from the Bronx. He ain't really from 50 probably knew. 50
I don't think
smart.
50 knew that. He took a shot in the dark because he was like, well, balling right now is going crazy. So why
50,
not continue to
50.
gas this guy? You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
If it was
Let's see where his
somebody
head
else
is.
other if it was somebody other than 50 Sean, I would agree, but he is one of those rare guys whose street acumen and business acumen are both
Oh,
extremely
no,
high.
no doubt. No doubt.
Okay.
So I
But
don't believe that he didn't know some of these things. I don't. He might play coy like that because that's also part of the game that he plays so well. But don't tell me he didn't know some of that stuff before he made that move. He's very calculated,
He-
and I mean that in a good way that he's
yeah.
calculated.
Can I go ahead, Sean? I wanted to just tie something all together real quick, but you go ahead, Sean.
I was just going to say, you can tell, like, okay, from a distance or even close by, you can see that Jim was riding his wave of balling, right? Mm-hmm. If I'm 50 and I'm being strategic, I'm gonna tap him on the shoulder, because right now you're off in space when you probably shouldn't have been there. Let's be honest. Jim probably shouldn't have been in that space. He was the henchman. He was the muscle, whatever you want to call it. He caught lightning in a bottle. If I'm 50, I'm testing that. I'm seeing, okay, you got a hot one, and you just leapfrog the main guy in your group when you probably never should have.
And in your city, not just your group, your city.
Your city. I'm gonna tap you on the shoulder to see where you stand, because if I can get you and him to butt heads, because right now you hot and he's not, that's just strategy. I don't think he really knew anything about internal beef or internal, because he said himself, he said, I just threw it out there to see what
he said. Let's see how he reacts.
Let's see how he reacts. It's the very simple, man. Look, New York.
That's what I mean about that street acumen. That's what I mean about 50 street acumen. Something about the situation made him go, let me pick a guy. You want to know what? I think Jim the guy, because and I hear this all the time when I talk to all my New York people. They be like, oh, Coop, you be acting like you from Harlem when you do this. Or you be acting like you from Brooklyn when you do this. But you got Queens tendencies when you do this. And so that's what I'm saying. No, 50 is student of the streets of the game. So he probably seeing some of Jim's tendency. He this nigga really don't do Harlem shit like that, really. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm not, he might have been feeling that vibe from Jim. It's like, oh, this don't feel totally like Uptown to me. Let me go him. Yeah. Him. Yeah.
I want to try to tie this all together real quick, right? Please. So to 50's point, right? Okay, so we got the Dipset, and like you said, Sean, he leapfrogged the main guy, the leader of his group, by having the lightning in the bottle, right? And Jim's main reasoning, his reasoning for saying he did what he did was because Cam wasn't making no moves in the Dipset clique, and that provided him an opportunity, and he took it or whatever. So, like I said, if they were boys, it wouldn't matter what opportunity would presented for Jim. He wouldn't have did that because he knows, like, yo, this guy's beefing with my guy right now. Correct. But here's where the problem lies with groups, collectives, or what have you that end up falling apart. This is just to me, right? Cam is the leader of Dipset. I got on a Wu hat right now, right? RZA's the leader of Wu-Tang Clan. I think anytime you are in a group or a collective where there is a de facto leader, it sets the table for jealousy and envy and things like that to be breeded, right? And Jim, he got that lightning in the bottle, and it put him in position to leapfrog the person in that spot. And he took the opportunity, even if it meant siding with 50 Cent, who was the ops at that point. But we just got through talking about the Locks. The Locks came in under Puff. They've been loyal with each other from day one till now. Any turmoil they had behind the scenes, and they kept it internally. Because you know what? There's no de facto leader. Coop, you said Jadakiss was the front man. The front man is different from than a leader. The Wu-Tang's front man is Method Man. But the leader was RZA.
I didn't say leader. Yeah, I didn't say leader. Man.
Yep, it's totally different. The Locks don't have a leader. Every man is equal, and goes back to that J line on Reasonable Doubt, where he said, "If your whole crew is rugged, if somebody fall, we could be each other's crutches." You know what I'm saying? On Reasonable Doubt. So that's why the Locks have been able to keep it together, this whole time, versus these other groups that have a de facto leader in place that have people eyeing that top spot. Like, yo, I don't think he need to be in that spot. We've heard Ray, you got talking candidly about some of the moves that RZA has made. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I think that breeds jealousy, envy, and all sorts of things. And I think it's a reason why we don't see hip hop groups today. The last major hip hop group that we've had that made noise was the Migos. I don't consider Griselda a group. That's more of a collective.
It's true.
And it's for these reasons that we're speaking about right now.
Perfect segue. Because when you throw that stuff out there to the public, right? When you talk about your internal strife, and it leaks out to the public and you're talking about it to the public,
Mhm.
it's hard to recover from that. Internal beef, you can have a conversation amongst men, women, or whatever the case may be. You can hash it out because you don't have the public opinion weighing in on your issues. Because now when you get everyone talking about, like we're talking about it right now, you got everybody putting their opinion out there, and they are like really bloviating the situation. They're making it bigger than what it probably really is. It's hard to get back to the core of why we got a problem and can we fix that problem. That's why social media has became like one of the biggest issues when it comes, like you said, AG, breaking up these groups. Because when they start talking to this source or talking to that source and words start getting out, everybody's talking about it now. Everybody's weighing in on it, and it's hard to backpedal. It's hard to backpedal when that shit gets to the airwaves, and you could probably have fixed that within your circle by saying, "Yo, we need to talk about. Let's hash this thing out." Once that thing is out there, it's a wrap.
Because a lot of those opinions pumping up that ego that you got.
Bingo.
Let's go to Mad Max before we transition. $9.99 for Mad Max. AG, Puff ain't from Harlem. His dirty freak self from Mount Vernon like me, but he a West Side and I'm an East Side, and we gotta make the distinction. Okay, so Mad Max, I'm gonna push back a little bit because Puff was born in Harlem. He only got moved to Mount Vernon after what happened to his pops happened to his pops.
His daddy used to be major in Harlem.
His dad used to run with Nicky Barnes in Harlem. He was one of Nicky Barnes' top guys. So, and a lot of people feel like some of Nicky's decisions led to what happened with Puff's dad, and that's definitely a whole nother conversation that we're not about to dig.
Yeah, we ain't gonna touch that one.
Yeah, we definitely not touching that shit because some of they people are still walking around. Real talk. But I will say, as somebody that was born in Charlotte but raised in Atlanta. Well, I discovered hip hop in Charlotte, not in Atlanta, though. I started rapping in Charlotte. And so, although I was born in Charlotte, like Puff was born in Harlem and Puff was raised somewhere else, I claim Charlotte kind of like he still claimed Harlem because that's where I found hip hop, which is where Puff found a lot of his hip hop too, even though the Heavy D, Andre Harrell, Mount Vernon connection helped. But the first thing the nigga did was really take it to Harlem, though. So, which is where he's originally from, which is kind of what in our diaspora of living, we are taught to do, quite frankly, in all walks of life, not just rap. We were taught to take it back to where we started, right? So we did that. So we can knock him for a lot of things. I'm not gonna knock that. I'm gonna give him some Harlem, Mount Vernon dual citizenship because I like my Atlanta, Charlotte dual citizenship. Quite frankly, a lot of shit to knock Puff about, but holding Harlem up high shouldn't be one of them, in my opinion. And with that being said, let's transfer to the downfall of hip hop groups, guys.
Did we get this one real quick? I think Mad Max, did we call this one out?
Oh, Mad Max?
Yep.
Yeah.
We did this one?
I missed this one. I'm Team Cam over Jimmy. One, Cam's the reason I say comments like jailbird poetry. Well, you should stop that. Cam, shame on you.
Nah, that was great.
Max. Jimmy stole Max B and Stack Bundle style. RIP. He did do that. I agree. 3, Jimmy knew better than to throw the Franks at Cam and 50. I don't think he did. All right. Thank you, Mad Max, for your contribution. You're always entertaining, even though you know very little. And with that being said, we're going to go to the downfall of hip-hop groups, guys. I'm going to tell you the first thing that I noticed when we were doing this. I tried to list all the iconic hip-hop groups that had broken up, and it was way easier to list the ones that had broken up than the ones that had stayed together. I was like, when I got to the ones I was trying to keep together, I was like, damn, who's together? Because Outkast ain't together. Tribe Called Quest broke up. EPMD. Public Enemy even broke up. We all know what happened with NWA. Guys, why do iconic rap groups break up? If we could just keep it to the rap segment. We know about Bobby Brown and Teddy Pendergrass and Lionel Richie, Smokey Robinson, David Ruffin and the Temptations, ass nigga. We know about all these dudes, but why do hip hop groups suffer the same fate? Because quite frankly, the money and the stardom isn't the same as it is for the R&B guys when they break off and go solo. What's with the hip hop group disunity?
Too many egos.
Go.
And you know, I mentioned the locks earlier, but let me be clear. Like, I don't want to paint the picture like, oh, they're the epitome of hip hop groups, and yes, they keep their their struggles internal and don't let it come out. But let's be realistic about that situation. They got what, 4 group albums, and the Locks. They got 4 albums as a group. So I think it's easier to stay connected with that model because they masquerade as solo artists and they reconvene as a group every now and then versus relying on the group format and then saying, well, this person's going to drop a solo, this person's going to drop a solo. Same thing with Wu-Tang Clan. They only got together every handful of years. You know what I mean? It's a bunch of solo artists that come together like Voltron and form a group, but they really masquerade as solo artists for the most part. So it's easier to navigate that as a group if you have your own autonomy, so to speak.
You're smoking that, bro. No doubt.
Appreciate it.
Because you need that space. When you got egos like that, it's hard to be under one roof. And the reason why I've always admired the way RZA did Wu was because he understood that at the gate. I got 9 personalities, including myself. I got to create room under this house of Wu so they all can thrive, because I can't keep it every single. You cannot have consecutive Wu albums without those guys going at each other next. Pause. From different areas of the hood, different ways of thinking, grown men, they have families to feed, they have their own like silos and so on and so forth. And to your point, when you got like a group, you talk and Coop, you started off by talking about the R&B groups that never got a chance to thrive. Think about the subsidiary groups under those guys. Like Ray had Ice Water, Meth had Street Life, and Ray the Ruckus and those guys like that. Ghost had his team. Everyone has a subsidiary group under them. So they're saying, you should be the one. You should be the front dog. You should be making X, Y, and Z. There should not be an equal split because your album sold more solo than this person's album. You got that stuff going in your head. And now you're thinking like, wow, I am the one the streets are talking about the most. You know what I mean? Because think about if Method Man had that true ego when he first launched, because he was the one, he was the poster boy for Wu. Just imagine how that could have crippled everything that happened after that. You know what I mean?
I think
it's tough.
I think my perspective, and I'm not saying your perspective is wrong, my perspective of it is a little bit different. And so let me explain to you maybe where I'm coming from with it. One of the most unselfish moments in hip hop history to me is the production job that Q-Tip did on the Low End Theory. Because when I listen to those beats, I say, those beats are made to make sure that Phife Dawg is more included in this project, this go around. Q-Tip is the obvious star as the MC and the producer. Part of what makes the Low End Theory beautiful is that, well, Q-Tip sounds great on his stuff, but you don't know if Phife does. But Q-Tip shows you on the Low End Theory. And I think what happens is that in order for a group to really, really stay together, the star has to make star type of sacrifices that are comparable to being the best player on the team in order to secure the championship. And much like with sports, there usually comes a point where the star maybe gets tired of making the sacrifice at the expense of another player getting the credit that maybe they don't fully deserve. See Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook in Oklahoma City. You feel what I'm saying? And so let's go to Wu-Tang Clan. I've always felt that the number one reason that Wu-Tang Clan stayed together is actually because their front man went platinum out the gate and never left the fucking crew. The first thing that he did was bring his ass right back and give them more classic shit. It's the first thing that he did.
Yeah.
He went back and gave Dirty Rawhide. He went back and gave Ray Ice Cream and Wu Gambinos. He went back and gave Jizza Living in the World Today in shadow boxing. Watching your star come back and shine his light on the rest of the crew, like Meth did for the Wu projects, like Q-Tip did for the Low End Theory for Phife. Those are the things that it takes consistently to keep the group together. Look at what Ghost did when the star power transferred to him. He did the same thing Meth did. Held the Wu up high, gave everybody their shots when Ghost became the thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's how these groups stay together. Now let's come on down here to Atlanta, Georgia. You know where we're going. You know where we're going. You know I was going to do it, right? Let's go down here to Atlanta, Georgia, where the star of the group down here maybe never wanted to rap with the other guy like that after the second goddamn album. And look what happened. Look at what happened. Serious. Look at what happens when the star of your group likes to drift instead of putting the group first.
Yeah.
Nah, it's a shame. It's a shame.
It is.
But real quick to your
I'm not saying it in a personal manner, like it is what it is. It's
no,
like,
you keeping it a buck. You keeping it a buck. But real quick, if I can interject, Coop.
No, please do. I'm done.
A lot of times we don't acknowledge with the whole Wu infrastructure. They got the features on every album, but from a business model standpoint, that was by design because a lot of people don't know. It's a look to feature other members from the clan, but from a business standpoint, you had to earn your keep because a lot of people don't know the intricacies of the deals because the way RZA had it structured, every clan member was eating off the solo releases as well and getting a percentage. So if you're a clan member and clan member over here, Raekwon or whoever drops a solo album and you getting a small check, a piece of that, you know what I mean? And you don't even come through to do a verse on the album, but you still eating off of, you know what I'm saying? So he did it in a very, it was a democracy to it, even though RZA structured it himself. It was democracy-like, you know what I mean? And you had to come through and you had to earn your keep on those records.
Thank you. That's the thing, AG. I think the way that RZA structured it, he's the first person to take a rapper's contract and incentivize it maybe in the manner that a sports player's contract is incentivized. It's like, well, you get 10% of this check over here, but you got to come and do the work. And quite frankly, think about back then, especially Spitting the Pie 9 Ways, these guys are thinking, well, the better that I rap, the better the song might be, the better it might do, the more it might provide. And so now you're seeing the ferocious nature that they're rhyming with. It doesn't have all to do with the impoverished upbringing. It has to do with the impoverished upbringing combined with the check being dangled in front of you. Like, oh, you telling me that I might make 20, 25 G's off an album that's not even mine if I just come and lay 2 verses on Ray's album? Like, think about a Master Killer and a You God who were locked up. You know what I'm saying? So that Knuckleheads verse is a big deal for a You God. That Glacier's Ice verse is a big deal for a Master Killer. Oh no, they about to show up and stunt.
But that's why every solo album had to be presented like an extension, or it was almost like a 2.0 of a Wu album. You know what I'm saying? Me and Sean, we're Marvel fans. We talk about Civil War. It's a Captain America movie, but that's essentially Avengers 2.5. It's an Avengers movie.
It's an Avengers movie with Captain America in quotations.
Thank you. Civil War is the makeup for every Wu solo album. Ensemble cast. It might have one person's name as the marquee, but we're gonna market everybody to you and push it to the forefront to make sure that this is successful because we all got to eat off this.
Right.
Their 5 best projects. Their 5 best solo projects are all heavy collaborative efforts. It's a Wu-Tang effort. Their 5 best projects are all heavy Wu-Tang efforts.
Yeah.
Supreme, Iron Man, Purple Tape. They're all. All of them.
It all worked because they trusted RZA out the gate.
Yeah.
When they stopped trusting RZA and they wanted to do other routes and get other producers, like Shaheem got this song other producers when he's talking about that. Dope record actually. And when they started doing that, you start seeing the cracks in the Wu-Tang armor. Now, granted, they all still came back because the foundation was still there. The brotherhood was still there. And again, I tell you guys all the time, is go back to what does your foundation look like? You know what I mean? As a collective. If your foundation is if it start off being very cracky or creaky or whatever, unstable, you can never go back to it. And when we always started talking in the beginning, I said, guys, let's keep everything above board. That's all I ask for. Let's keep everything above board. So in harsh times, we can always fall back and say, okay, we kept everything above board. We're going through some differences or what have you, but nothing that we can't fix. Because when that foundation is shaky, you can never go back to it because you're going to always fall through the cracks. When RZA, he actually set that foundation out the gate. He said, trust me for these 5 years. Everyone is going to eat, regardless of what, you are going to eat. And then after that, once you are established, you have your own record deal, you have your own situation. I'm doing all for you guys. You have a chance to flourish after that.
I mean, I do. I mean, you know, and we always end up back in this place. I think the crack, and it's funny that we're saying this because this is usually what causes cracks. Oh, the flood shortened the shelf life on RZA's beats and production. And so
that need to be a documentary on that.
Yeah, that deserves a whole doc by itself, just the flood.
Nah, bro, I'm gonna disagree. I think two things happened at once. Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. No. I want to hear your thoughts on that. But so here's why I'm saying that the flood is problematic. I don't care what anybody says. RZA's Heights is the highest heights a producer has seen in this business in terms of quality of beats for the time that it happened. But the drop off is pretty succinct, and nobody knows you like your brothers. And don't tell me that those dudes that have been rhyming over those beats didn't see the drop. Ghost speaks to the drop on Iron Man some. Think about this. There's a reason the RZA only actually produced 3 or 4 tracks beat-wise on Supreme. Ghost is speaking to it on Iron Man. Things had changed. He knew he couldn't put a beat project of RZA's out and make a classic anymore. It didn't used to be that way. And so his production drop off. Now, the flood being another reason, the fact that all of these early projects, they're literally almost every track is RZA except for a beat or two. There's a Brooklyn Zoo by True Master or a Heaters here or there, but for the most part it is RZA. So they did, gonna give you the pause beforehand, suck the well dry. They did.
Yeah.
But the flood could have extended the shelf life of that, is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
That's why I'm saying the flood is important, is because that 5-year run maybe turns into an 8 or 9-year run if he doesn't lose 100, 200 beats. He said.
Yeah, over 200.
Over 200 beats. So that's it. So back then you used to make, let's say, 30, 40 tracks for an album. So he lost about 4 or 5 Wu projects that were probably just good as some of the stuff. Beat-wise, I'm saying. We don't know how they're rhyming on it, but beat-wise, he probably lost some Purple Tape, Liquid Swords, caliber beats. Like, we can't discount that in the crack.
I agree with you, Coop. Now that you finish your thought, because to that point, when you start to recognize the fall off happening yourself, you could dip back into that old stash. Like, you can be in 2000 and get a beat that you made in 98 and it's brand new to the public, So like, he could have dipped in those old reserves if that flood never happened. But what I was going to say was, I think it was more so two things happening at once and kind of converging. Yes, the brothers in the clan recognized the fall off, you know what I mean? And they wanted to kind of explore outside of getting RZA production. But I think at the same time, that was a relief to RZA because he was burnt out just from a management standpoint, managing all the personalities, executive producing all these albums. Nobody's ever had a 5-year run like that. And even like you said on Supreme, he still needed RZA for executive producer duties to make that come together. But I think just far as the production aspect and managing everybody, you could see it on the Wu-Tang show. RZA was completely burnt out and drained, and like you said, Coop, the well was run dry. But I just don't think that it was a disservice, in my opinion, for them to not give him the vote of confidence. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
saying the vote of confidence he gave them to get them started, he deserved the vote of confidence back.
Right. That's what doesn't sit well with me, because it's okay, RZA's washed, so I'm going to get beats from whoever else. You know what I mean? Like, just I don't like that.
Well, there's also Sean, not to cut you short. There's also, pun intended, this is also a case of cream rising to the top. You know how Ghost became the best member in Wu-Tang Clan? it's actually he's the one who's done the best about not rapping over RZA's beats. All these other guys' best stuff is still over RZA's beats. Ghost is the only one who's like, no, I got a whole classic catalog without RZA beats on him. He's the only one with a classic catalog without RZA's beats.
That's true.
He's got
And
a
he
whole
worked.
classic
And he
catalog.
worked the hardest. I mean, it's just hard work at the end of the day.
Yeah, but he's the only one with a classic rap catalog that doesn't have RZA's beats all over it. Ray's got a lot of stuff because of the purple tape too, but Ghost just got Ghost literally has a classic catalog outside of RZA beats, and he's the only Wu-Tang member like that. And so that is speaking to his caliber of pen game and how it evolved. Yeah, and so some of that is just like, well, you know, these other guys didn't adjust. I can't front. Like, I love Deck. But here's what I will give you guys. Oh no, the Pillage is better than Uncontrolled Substance just off production.
It is, but Uncontrolled Substance is good. I don't think it gets the credit it deserves. I would really like Uncontrolled Substance. It's because of what it could have been because of the flood.
RZA did more beats on Uncontrolled Substance than he did on the Pillage. That's what I'm saying.
Deck did a lot of Uncontrolled Substance itself.
He did.
And he
because I mean, the way the show paints it, he got tired of waiting around on RZA. Like, he lost the Flood album. RZA had his hand in other projects, and Deck's like, fine, I'll teach myself how to produce what, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, I've said this many times. Deck and Meth took the biggest L's.
Yeah,
Deck and Meth took the biggest L's from the Flood specifically. Yeah.
But and here's the thing that people don't talk about: it was two floods. That's what's funny about it. It was one in 90. It was one in 95.
Right.
It was back to back years. One in 94 and one in 95, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
A
lot of stuff.
I think the 95 one was the big one. I think the 94 was like a small one.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, RZA, man, you gotta stop keeping the floppy disk on the floor, bro.
A lot of weed and hash. Yeah, a lot of weed and hash and kung fu flicks late at night producer. I don't know how many times my cousin Six would be like laid out on the floor at like 4 o'clock in the morning. I'd be like, nigga, why are you laid on the floor? He's like, because I hate you rapping ass niggas. I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave this nigga alone. It's like, I hate all you niggas. He's like, I hate your levels. It's like, I hate making beats for you. I hate all you niggas. I was like, okay, leave this nigga fuck alone. He don't smoke weed anymore. Can't give him a blunt. It's like, I'm getting out of here. Step right over his ass while he walking on the floor. All right, cuz, I'll see you later, nigga. Right. That's how it be. That's how it be for the producers too. When you have a collective, I was part of a collective. Like, I was a solo artist, but I was part of a collective. My cousin made beats for about 15 different guys. So it's like, oh no, I know firsthand, because he just be like, man, fuck all y'all. I was like, oh, okay. That's how the producers be sometimes. And so, like, yeah, shit happens. Like, you work so hard for your artist, you're dedicated to the craft. I understood why the flood happened. It's like, no, the nigga just probably fell asleep working hard for these guys, trying to make something of himself.
Yeah,
that's how it happens. And speaking of people working hard,
close that out real quick. Sorry, Coop, but we will never. I'm gonna stamp this. We're never gonna see hip hop groups again. I'm gonna just say that. Maybe a duo or something, but we're never seeing hip hop groups again.
You want to know what?
By definition,
I feel like the industry is killing it off too. Like, y'all are familiar with Earth Gang down here, right? From the South Side. It's like, I love Earth Gang. They're the last real rap group to come out of this city, and it's like, I don't think people like even really know they exist. That's what makes me worry about the hip hop group. Is like,
they got a good niche audience, but yeah, you're right for the most part.
They do, but it's like, how many people really outside of Atlanta know they exist? Because I be talking about Earth Gang in Atlanta, and people be like, who? I be like, Earth Gang, South Cascade, Campbell. No, you don't know these. Yeah. Like, okay. So the hip hop group is dying in a lot of ways. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Because why would you split the? But I don't knock it, AG, because why would you split the pie? Like, now, in these days and times, with everything being so viral and social media and all of this, like, you don't make money off of the music anymore. You make money off of you. Why would you split you with somebody? The music has to be fire to do that. But
like, a lot of times people don't realize that in the group setting, the sum is greater than the individual, you know what I'm saying, parts. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, so I am of this train of thought. I've always been critical of the fact that Andre 3000 has never made a solo album. And I think solo rap album, excuse me, because when I used to say solo, well, he made a flute album. Shut the fuck up. All right? You know I'm talking about a rap album. He's never made a solo rap album. But I'm also gonna tell you guys something in full full closure and concern. Upon further inspection, he might be better off that way because I'm not sure how good that solo album sounds without Big Boy. I keep trying to tell everybody, the records that people know them for, most of that stuff is Big Boy's foundational groundwork.
Coop, he knows that. That's why we never got it.
Thank you.
Just because you don't say something publicly don't mean you don't know it yourself.
Right. And
I don't
so
think he has a desire for it. I just don't think he has a desire to do it. I really don't.
see, here's the thing. I think
Because it's all the work on you.
I think he has the desire for it. Hey, look here. When you're as nice as he is on the mic, you can be humble as you want to be. When you're that kind of nice, you know that you're that kind of nice, and you know the expectations that come with it. That's what this was about. But I've always been worried about the quality of the material. Like, I was so happy when Black Thought made Cheat Codes because I had been so concerned for so long about his ability to make a great solo album. Seriously.
Yeah. But I don't give a damn, man. At the end of the day, it looks totally different just pulling up to the studio, dropping a 16, maybe helping out on the hook, versus dropping 2 to 3 16s and coming up with the hook yourself for 12 to 16 tracks. That's a totally different amount of work that has to be put into it, and everybody's not cut out for that.
So, AG, I'll tell you this, and every artist who has ever rapped before knows this, it's been a solo artist. And this is why I hold records like Dead President so high by Jay. Oh, by the time you were a solo artist, by the time you were done with those first 2 verses and a hook, if you have a third great verse in you, you are special. It is hard to write 3 great verses and a dope hook on one record. It is one of the hardest things in music to do. I've been saying it my whole life. It's hard to do. So when you are hearing somebody like Jay deliver a third verse like that on a Dead Presidents 2, oh no, that is rarefied air. That's what I tell people. It's like, oh no, they don't make guys like that. Some of your favorite raps, I'll give you an example. And this is what I mean about rarefied air. Now, I love Prodigy and I love Quiet Storm. Oh, that third verse ain't as good as them first 2 verses. That third verse ain't as good as them first 2 verses on Quiet Storm. It's not.
That's true.
It's hard to finish it. It's hard to finish it when you going solo.
Yeah. And a lot of times songs would ascend from first to third verse. And shout out to the homie Iran. We got a lot of dope people in our Discord. Iran is the biggest person who tries to take us back to the era where we got 3 verses. He hates this 2-verse era, but not to belabor the point though. But I just don't like it when people put Andre 3K in the top 5 and then don't want to put Biggie in the top 5, say he only had 2 albums. Biggie has been gone from us for 28 years now coming up, and he still has more verses in circulation than Andre 3000, than who is alive and well in 2025.
I love Andre, and he along with Nas and Tupac were my biggest rap inspirations. And I've always told people, oh, Biggie got more bar seminars on life after death than Andre has in his whole catalog. And I say that somebody that was directly inspired by his bars to MC myself. And I'll tell you objectively, Biggie got more bar seminars.
But even if we're not talking about quality, we're talking about quantity. And Big's been gone for 28 years.
Even quality. That's what I'm saying. Like, Andre don't have a kick in the door. That's what I'm talking about, that 3-verse shit. It's like, no, that's hard. This goes,
and the third verse is the best.
Used to use disrespectful views on the king. I think the first verse is the best verse, but pick a verse though, because it's not like you can pick a verse. That's what I'm talking about. It's like, oh no, there's a separation and a rarefied air when a guy does that, and so it's not fair to put Andre next to a Big, because even if you're talking brevity of material, it's like Andre don't have no kick in the door where you were literally just watching this guy stunt on a record and the hook by himself to the point that you were like, oh my God, this guy might be the best rapper I've ever heard.
Tap dancing.
Andre doesn't have a rap song that makes you go, this might be the best rapper I ever heard. Biggie has a bunch of those songs. Jay has a bunch of those songs. Nas has a bunch of those songs. Tupac has a bunch of those songs. That's why we reverence them the way they do. They have the songs that reflect the fact that they might be the best person we've ever heard. They have the actual songs.
Yep.
Yeah. So, And I agree with you. I think the Migos are the last big hip hop group we're going to see. I think everything else is going to be localized until we get an Outkast or Wu Tang, EPMD, Tribe Called Quest type of group, and I just don't think that's promised to us anymore.
Nah,
Nope.
it's a wrap.
Right. We like because here's the thing: there aren't great frontmen anymore that sacrifice for the Q. There aren't any Q-tips running around anymore. There aren't any Method Mans running around anymore. Those guys are gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was the poverty thing, like, you know, trying to get not only yourself out the hood, but your crew. Like, so everybody, like anybody I know that got talent in the same situation with me, we're going to put our talents together and try to get out of this impoverished condition. You know, that's how a lot of groups came from.
Yeah, but they're not built like that no more because they know they can make more revenue in the streaming service.
On TikTok. Right.
Yeah.
No, streaming service can get up on TikTok and make you 10 G's in a month if you go viral.
Exactly. Look at LiAngelo.
Punk ass.
Mount Rushmore.
Cut AG's mic off. Cut it off right now. The second time.
Yeah. Yo,
we got to start having better checks and balances.
We got to.
Final actual business topic of the evening. You know, we have some business we need to handle before we go, gentlemen.
No doubt.
You know, very, very light skinned. It's getting very, very light skinned. So Drake has filed a defamation lawsuit against his own label UMG, claiming that specifically the pedophilic driven lyrics.
PDF file. Yeah.
The PDF file. I like that. Thank you. Yeah. Probably already lost all our money anyway. PDF file from Not Like Us. Apparently, Drake is stating has been used by UMG to devalue his worth in negotiations with said label. I found this to be very light-skinned of the El DeBarge and Prince variety, guys. What do you say, AG? You appear to be pensive about this, AG. I'm gonna let you go first. Go ahead and get it off. Keep my OVO jacket. Might be a wire in the jacket.
I'm gonna try to keep it brief. Every diss track is defamation, right? Every last one of them. Every one of them.
That's why we love them.
I don't understand the thought process behind this. Yes, it's likely lies. And all right. So if you're suing UMG, right, saying that they're behind this record, and Coop, I know you're one to say that Not Like Us is not like that. You know what I mean?
So it's a great record. No, I'm not going to say that. I've always told you that it's a great record.
Okay, yeah, it's a great record. But, you know, I think Drake is of the mindset that it wouldn't ring off like that if it wasn't defaming him. And UMG is being behind that, and hence we got this lawsuit. But if Drake is their cash cow for so many years, UMG, and he's in a battle with Kendrick Lamar, and Kendrick Lamar is I ain't gonna say the new kid on the block, but he's the best thing smoking right now because he's smoking Drake's boots, right? And he comes out with a song that as soon as you hear it, it registers like, oh, this is a hit, this is a banger. You know what I mean? So what in the hell is a parent distribution company supposed to do? They're supposed to get behind the record to push it to amass revenue. Yes, you're a casualty of that, Drake. You know what I mean? You just so happen to be getting dissed in the record, but UMG is out to make money. They don't care about your feelings. They're saying, damn your feelings. They're going to get behind the record and do whatever they need to do. Yes, they're going to get it to all the streamers. Yes, they're going to get it to the radios. Yes, they're going to push it to be performed at the Super Bowl because they're going to push all their chips in the center of the table on Kendrick Lamar because they're riding the wave just like everybody else. Isn't that what they're supposed to do as a corporate business? Yes or no?
They did it for him.
Exactly. So when it's not for him, all of a sudden, now it's a problem. Can you imagine Meek suing them for the backing on back to back? You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of weird that he's doing this. It's like, bro, take your L and move on and sit down. He's down worse than Cole right now. I think that this move is career suicide and you get demoted under Cole at this point. Because it's like you have a contingent of rap fans that didn't mess with Drake anyway because of, corny stuff he did, his upbringing, him being light-skinned, what have you. You know what I mean? You think you're going to come back from a lawsuit, win, lose, or draw, and those people are going to be like down for what you're doing? No, they're not.
Well, AG, I'm going to push back, although I agree with you, but I'm going to push back for the sake of progressing the conversation, because just in our time knowing each other and dealing with you, I had a feeling that you were going to say this. So I'm just going to offer you some respective pushback after I get to this super chat. Mad Max with $20. Oh, Lord, this is about to be long. God help us. Andre and Most Def, the same person to me. I told you it's about to be long, Lord. Most better because black on both sides exists. But when I see guys who are brilliant go and do experimental albums right after or none at all, tells me you can't handle the pressure or you snubbing hip hop. It's actually pretty tame by Mad Max's standard. We'd like to thank you for your actual coherent contribution to the chat, Max. AG, where I'm first of all, you're wearing a hat that says pause, and I just noticed it. You're wild. Does the hat say pause? Stop the show. Cut the tape. Cut the tape. Cut the tape off.
Dipset, you see it?
Wow.
Yo, somebody tell Jim to take the gloves off with the rings over there, bro. Like, come on now, man.
So
I don't know. I just had to throw that out there. I'm sorry.
AG. And this is just me saying this for devil's advocate. I'm not defending Drake in this because I do feel like a lot of this is indefensible, because some of this shit is just a little bit close to being like police work for me, quite frankly. If Prince were to do this, would I say that he was doing this for the industry? Probably, because he was the type of person that would do it for the industry, for the artist. And so I think the question that is on the table, is this because your feelings hurt because you got your ass whooped, nigga? Or is this about the real artistic integrity of it? Because he's the only rapper with enough power and clout and money to buck the system like this. So if that's what you're doing, if you're using your money and your power and your clout to buck the system because down the line this is going to benefit artists in this position, that's the only way I can rock with you on this, because my favorite artist of all time, who I literally have almost all his albums hanging up on the wall behind me, that is the type of shit that guy would do, and I know that for a fact. And so if you're doing it under that premise, I'm okay. Any other premise isn't okay, and that's the only way that I see it. What do you say to my retort, AG?
It just doesn't work because of the timing of it. I mean, he could have did this at any time, but he just so happened to be up for contract negotiations for himself. And then he's saying, like, okay, y'all trying to not pay me what I'm worth because...
Hold on. But I don't mean to cut you short, but don't people in positions of power and money typically do this to the artist or to the talent? Remember Sean, you'll remember this. Remember when the Dallas Cowboys wearing DeMarco Murray like almost 800 carries in 2 years on the last 2 years of his contract, and then was like, oh, well, you're 29 years old and you just ran 800 carries in 2 years, nigga. You ain't no good no more. Bye, nigga. You remember when they did that?
Yeah. But here's the shock of your life, Coop. Drake's value was down before the battle even happened.
Ooh,
period. I told my homie, who is a big time Drake fan, when For All the Dogs came out, I was like, it's over. Dude need to take a break, chill out, let people miss him a little bit. He need to fall back. Drake fatigue is real. If Drake was still at his peak and it was like that, he wouldn't have had to spin the block and make the Scary Hours version of For All the Dogs to appease like certain part of the fandom. So
I said that, so I agree.
Yeah, his stock was already on the downhill slope. You know what I mean? And then the battle just helped put the nail in the coffin. So you're suing UMG for doing something that they're supposed to do as a parent record company. They're promoting somebody. You just happen to be a casualty of war. Yes, you're the subject of the diss record. Yes, it's saying some heinous stuff about you, but doesn't every diss record? Every diss record is defamation. And I really don't think that Kendrick thinks that. Let's put it this way. I don't think Kendrick thinks that Drake is a real PDF file. Here's why. Because you're not going to create a song that you can dance to like that, where a potential victim can hear that and get triggered, just like the target can get triggered. I think You know what I'm saying? Disc records are used to get. Disc records are used to get angles, and whatever is the best angle to play is usually the best angle that wins. Whoever does it the most creatively. And Kendrick played the best angle, and he won. And Drake is crying sour grapes. He can't take his L respect. This is all from a person who's supposed to be quote unquote unbothered by the whole thing. And then what is the end game of this? Even if he wins, and against UMG, what does this do for his career though?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, he really doesn't stand anything to gain other than standing his ground on an artistic standpoint. That's why I reference Prince, because I can't see the logic in it personally. First of all, how about this? For the entirety of their careers, this is the first time Kendrick is outpacing Drake numbers-wise.
Yeah.
Is that about the quality of records? Is that about the Drake fatigue? I'm agreeing with you, AG. I actually think it's both.
It's a combination. Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Not just the fact that Kendrick made a great record where he just ran all through your ass. Pause.
But you know what? Drake would have something if Kendrick wasn't a superstar or a megastar before this happened, because it would look kind of crazy. It would look kind of crazy, like, if this was out of nowhere. But Damn did better numbers than GNX back then. And here's the thing, too. But here's the thing, too, people don't talk about. If the fight was fixed and UMG was just looking to get Drake out of here because they were negotiating numbers and contract and they wanted to push Kendrick to the forefront, wouldn't they did it earlier? It took 5 records from Kendrick for them to get to that point. But it's an obvious banger. I would look at this a little bit funny if Euphoria was like everywhere going crazy.
No, AG, what I would tell you, I'm about to use a League of Their Own reference. There's no crying in baseball. It's like, this is rap. This is rap. That's the problem with it. That's what I'm saying. Like, is he saying something that I find business practice-wise to be fundamentally correct? Oh, yeah, I do believe that your label will use something like this to leverage the contract negotiations. Like, how about this? Look what's about to happen to Sam Darnold. Oh, Sam Darnold not getting $50 million a year after how he played those last 2 games. So UMG is probably looking at Drake and like, we're not handing you that after the boogeyman just gangsta boogied on your ass, and you want some more money from us. They're like, nigga, no.
This confirms to me that Drake has always been scared to go independent, no matter how big of an artist he is.
He is the modern existence of the machine. If he were to go independent, the machine would fall apart, and so would he. The machine don't exist without him, and vice versa to a degree. That's what I mean, is like, if this is about you fighting the machine from an artistic perspective, I can rock with you, but it's really just coming off like you got
ain't doing it for the culture though, crew. He ain't doing it for the culture of other artists. Yeah.
Hold on, listen to what I'm saying. It's coming off like you just got your ass whooped and you don't have an appropriate response. Because here's who I thought about today. Man, Eazy-E got dissed like a motherfucker to an all-time level by Ice Cube and Dr. Dre. And you never heard him cry or complain about it one time. He just made real motherfucking G's and kept it pushing. Which, by the way,
didn't sue, but didn't Jerry Heller want to sue?
Fellas.
Hold on. The businessman wanted to sue, not the street dude from Compton who was
bingo. So Drake moving like Jerry Heller.
And that's what I mean about this being problematic if you move in that way, because, well, you do understand that forever and ever and ever, the cred gonna matter, and you being as big as you are don't get to take the cred away. So you better be doing this about the artist. You get what I'm saying?
What you got, Sean? You got something? You said you got something to say.
I think we missing the major point here.
Okay.
Drake can fight 2 battles at the same time. He's trying to fight the battle of losing to Kendrick, and he's trying to fight the battle of re-upping at the same time. He's trying to get UMG to shell out all of this money that he feel that he is owed for what he's done for UMG in any capacity, based on what he has done in hip hop, the uplifting that he felt that he's done in hip hop. When you look at that point of it, and you look at the fact that he's getting his boot smoked by Kendrick and everybody else who's talking about him, he's not that guy anymore at this point. He lost all of that at the same time while still trying to fight UMG. The thing about all of this, fellas, we've been saying this for a long time, and hip hop turned into rapping bullshit, just like RZA said back in '97, R&B rapping bullshit, because that's all this was. We said that this was going to be the biggest and most delightful battle because you got the people's champ, who is Kendrick.
Yes.
You got the self-proclaimed king of hip hop.
You got the machine. It's the machine. It's the machine versus the people's
behind
champ.
him.
Yeah.
Who took care of him for all of these years. UMG took care of Drake for all. Keep in mind, Drake was breaking records of Michael Jackson. Think about this, fellas.
He still is. He still is. This is still going on. Yes, this is still going on.
Bigger than hip hop, right? You're talking about crossover to the third power. You're talking about an entire country behind him. What he's done, what I feel, in my personal opinion, where Drake lost me was the fact that he kicked off this battle, this beef, like he really had some smoke to give. And when things didn't go his way, he went the detour route. He started going the legal route. Not so much as for the battle, but to try to get a bag in the process of still trying to rationalize the fact that he lost the battle to a higher caliber MC that he should have lost to regardless.
But Sean, I really don't think he could fathom that Not Like Us is that good. Like he's like, this can't be right. You know, it has to be a fixed fight.
But a lot of people can't. A lot of people can't.
No, I'm about to say, I hate it when I have to be the voice of reason of this. So, and I've always said this. First of all, I mean, and you all know this. Well, I'm really a Pusha T fan at my car. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. Pusha T from like how Pusha T raps. It's how most people in North Carolina rap, like more of a traditional East Coast aesthetic for rap. And I said this, and people always thought it was like, oh, Team Drake. The only reason that I picked Drake in this battle is because I didn't have any quantifiable facts, in my opinion, in the
trademark.
past.
Trademark. Yeah.
No, you haven't trademarked it yet. I actually filed paperwork for it last week. You're in a lot of trouble. You're in a lot of trouble. I'm definitely going to sue you, Sean, if you say it.
It's already done.
You have 3 more weeks, Sean. You have 3 more weeks. You have 3 more weeks before everything's finalized. Definitely about to hit Sean up for a couple bands for Christmas. But no. All jokes aside, I picked Drake in this battle because I really didn't have any quantifiable facts. All jokes aside, that Kendrick could prove that he could stunt like this. And I know Drake was thinking the same thing, but you have to be rooted in the reality of the matter. He smoked your ass. And these moves that you're making in hip hop terms, I get how large you are in not just the hip hop space, but just the entertainment world space. You were one of music's biggest stars. Like, I can put you next to Taylor Swift and like all that shit. And it's like, we know that you lost. Take your L the way that we take our L's in this space. Don't try no, for real. Don't try to circumvent or redefine the space because you're the biggest artist that's existed in the space. The space is still the space. You got your ass whooped. Take your lumps and come back better. Don't do all this shit.
Yeah, he's in full Karen mode because you could be sneaky on some business stuff because when imagine Jay,
that's what I'm saying. We know what's going on.
But imagine Jay suing Sony after Ether. Jay still got his business shit off, but he was sneaky about it. Ron Browns couldn't get work. Ron Browns was blackballed for producing Ether. But that's sneaky on the low stuff. Drake wearing his lawsuit like a badge of honor, like, yo, I'm taking you to court.
That's why I brought up Easy, because Easy was a real street dude. Look at how Easy handled it. And quite frankly, that's the way we used to our G's handling it. We're used to handling it by G's. I mean, Easy took 2 of the biggest shots ever, and all he did was make one of the, like, first of all, Real Motherfucking G's might be the best West Coast beat ever.
That beat is hard.
I'll put that beat up against any Dr. Dre beat, like outside of 2 or 3. And then he found Bone Thugs and Harmony right. All I'm saying is Easy kept his motion bounce back like a real G does. And it's like, when I'm seeing him behave this way about it, and then I'm looking at the quality of records, it's like, now don't go out like no sucker in front of us, because the numbers ain't gonna matter at the end of the day if you're going out like a sucker. Like, nobody cares about your numbers and your stature and your place in your space if you're gonna be on some sucker shit.
And he's stifling his own material from coming out because the album with Party Next Door is supposedly done. You know what I mean? So that's not going to see the light of day if he got this lawsuit. But let me ask y'all this, because this is the question I'm dying to know, because I'm like nauseated talking about this still in 2025, this battle. You know what I'm saying? Granted, we appreciate it. It's been a stimulus package for the pod. But
All the
with
pops.
all the
Everybody gets
corny
sued.
stuff.
We all get sued in 2025.
With all the corny stuff that's happened within this battle,
So
you know, we've held this battle up pretty high. Like the only battle I have over top of it is Jay and Nas, right? But I think this gets demoted each corny thing that happens. Like you got the apology, you got hearing from Rick Ross and people you don't want to hear from. You got like Kanye coming out of nowhere and saying we're energized for the taking down Drake and making remixes to songs nobody asked for off the Future album. And then you got like Drake with the lawsuits and stuff like that. I mean, like, to me, everything that happened just kind of knocks us down a peg and is taken away from the great music that we got. How do y'all feel about that?
I never had it hot like that.
I agree with you, AG, because it's kind of like first of all, you're the instigator in this, and so
Me? No. Drake is. Oh, okay, yeah.
Drake is the instigator in this. When you're the instigator, and this is why I always applauded Jay, even though he lost. Oh no, he was the instigator. He knew he was the instigator, so he stuck to the script. He didn't pivot. He kept coming.
He stood on his square. Yeah.
He stood on his square, and he did not pivot. No, he kept coming. Now, what he came with wasn't good enough.
Yeah,
but he did stand on his square and keep coming, and that's the part of it that I don't like. It's like, man, I really wish. Can you give? I'm not even saying it got to be a diss record. Can I get some quality subs from you out of this situation?
No,
that's been some decent subs. It's been some decent subs.
Yeah, I said quality. It's been decent. I'm talking about quality. I mean, something. How about this?
Sean, that's the most animated Sean been the whole show.
Right. Hold on. When I say quality, AG, I mean something worthy of stirring Kendrick's ire again. I haven't heard.
Oh, okay. No, not that. But I think No Face was a solid effort.
Like I said, something that would make Kendrick go, "You trying to dance again?" That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. I got you.
If you're not doing that,
I got you. Nah, it hasn't been that.
Right.
But he's been focusing his gaze in other places.
But that's what I'm saying. If we're not doing that, though, what are we doing? That's the draw. We're not going through the marquee to watch you do this other. Like we just not.
But it's like the boogeyman, you know what I'm saying? Kendrick staring him in the face and Drake's like, oh, I see you, LeBron. I see you over there, DeMar. You know what I'm saying? Oh, UMG. And Kendrick's right there in his face. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
that's what we are today. This is not nothing new. We've seen this.
It's a weak era. Yes, you are correct.
When Push went at Drake, what did Drake say? He said he went too far. Styles P had to come back and say, nah, that's part of the battle. You gotta go far. You gotta take it to a place where that person feels uncomfortable. Drake, he took it to a place before with Meek that made it uncomfortable. He talked about Meek's girlfriend at the time, Nikki. They broke
up. It's okay when it's him, though. It's okay.
Hold on. See, this is okay.
Hold up. When the rapper got the gun, now he's scaring away. You know what I'm saying?
No. Hold on.
He wanted to take it to that threshold. He said,
no.
Drop it, give me 50. If you got all of this, drop it right now.
He did.
He dropped it over and over and over, and now you're sitting there going, you get dizzy because you're like, I didn't think this was going to happen. I didn't see this coming.
None of us did.
No one saw this coming.
So let's go through some revisionist history right quick. Well, now we can look at back to back, and it's like, oh well, shit, you were probably closer to Nicki than Meek was. That's why that record came off so well. You had more information and more ammo to go off of. You didn't have that with Kendrick. You don't have no inside information.
But he
had to go off the bars this time, and it didn't go well.
Coop, it didn't land. That's what I'm saying. Those punches were landing. He was barely hit. He was hitting them, but it wasn't landing. Family Matters was not a bad diss.
I like
it's great.
I like the Hard Part 6 better, but yeah.
You gotta keep going.
That's great.
That's the stamina that you got to have in a hip hop battle. That's one of the things Nas said that Eric B told him. That Ross said, you're going to go into this, be prepared. You're going to have to. There is a stamina that comes with a hip hop battle. Meaning, if I drop this and he dropped that, I gotta have something else. I can't empty my clip and not have anything to say or respond back to. He misjudged this entire battle.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Well, the only battle that he's clearly won from this era was the Meek battle, and it's starting to look like maybe he won.
Common. I'll give him Common.
You can give
I don't think. Okay, so I don't think that's modern day.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the funny part. He told Kendrick to do exactly what Kendrick did, and then you want to get mad and sue people about it. He was like, talk about, you know what I'm saying? You heard it on the Joe Budden podcast. Talk about him with underage women. You know what I'm saying? I know
No,
you
but
got a quadruple, double entendre or whatever. Give me all of that. He asked for this.
no,
Tailor Made was him digging his own grave. I told Sean that from day one. Hate Tailor Made.
And he has received it, but that's what I'm saying. It is like, no, if you're gonna lose, you need to lose the way Easy lost, the way Jay lost. That's all I'm saying. I'm not co-signing the behavior. I'm saying, oh no, that's not how you in this business.
He took the Pusha loss more graceful, and I think that was kind of odd to me because Pusha,
he got outed.
I know he didn't look at Pusha.
He didn't have a choice. He got outed.
Yeah, he did. But I know he didn't look at Pusha like on his level, but Kendrick is very much on Drake's level, like, you know.
But it was all the back and forth.
So no. See what happened? What happened with the Pusha battle is that he didn't take Pusha seriously because Pusha's the better MC actually, but stature wise not there. Well, Kendrick is every bit the MC Pusha is.
Yeah, Drake said, "Well, this is going to fall on deaf ears, like whatever, right. You know."
But Kendrick is different because Kendrick is lyrically inclined like Pusha, but is star inclined like Drake. So look here, the Spider-Man meme is really Kendrick looking at Kendrick. That's what the fuck really done happened. All right,
but that's the thing. Kendrick dropped the diss record moments after Drake dropped his. That turned everything upside down in real time because he was like, what did just happen? How did that happen?
It's one of the greatest moves in diss rap history.
Yeah, it didn't even have to be better. It's just strategically how he did it.
The move. That's what I'm saying. It's one of the best moves. I didn't say songs, AG. Moves. It's one of the best moves.
It's all about timing. And then you're going to follow that up again and you're going to drop Not Like Us. It makes it. Now I'm on your head. I'm on your neck right now. You can't respond because you're going in the whirlwind. You don't know who's in Drake's ear at this time. In this camp telling him, don't do nothing yet. Just let him shoot the clip. And now that everybody's getting behind it. And now when you get behind it, the momentum is starting to build up. Even with Jay and Nas, when Jay came back with Super Ugly, we were like, yo, that was not the move. You know what I'm saying? And then what Jay did, Jay went to the radio station and he was crying and whining, like, you know, he went too far with that. He did that, right? But he waited for a little while. He came back on Blueprint 2. He had the proper response after Blueprint 2, which finally took him almost a year or what have you to do that. So the stamina that Jay had was there, but the punches weren't landing because by that time, your punches are a little bit weaker.
No, no. I actually don't think Jay's punches were weaker. It's that Nas was hitting him with some heavy stuff. He was hitting him with Ether and You're the Man and Last Real Nigga Alive and like
You Want to Be Me is underrated. I love You Want to Be Me
off 8 Mile. That's what I'm saying. Like no. Like and here's what people forget about this. People think Ether is the diss record. No, Nas made about 6 or 7 diss records.
He did.
It was all
I like You Want to Be Me better than Ether, pretty much. Like I think it's more scathing. But let's bring it back to the law.
Is more disrespectful because it's more of a straight up and down disrespect. Yeah.
Bingo. Let's bring it back to the lawsuit for a minute because I want to ask both of y'all this. I'm still stuck on the fact that UMG did what a label is supposed to do. I'm looking at this EP that Kendrick put out or whatever, like you're releasing the album. We talked on, a bunch of shows ago about Cole talking about when he was signed to Jay-Z. Jay-Z kept saying like, yo, you don't got a hit yet. You don't got a hit yet. I'm not putting the album out till you have a hit. Coop, you said the same thing about Black Rob's album until he got Whoa, right? All right. We got Euphoria. We got 616. We got Meeting the Grams. And then we finally got Not Like Us. Now, if it was a fixed fight, to me, that would have happened earlier in these releases. But when everybody heard Not Like Us, I can attest to this myself. I was with my girl and my girl's son. I was like, yo, this is going to be a hit. Like, soon as I first heard it, this is going to be out of here. And that's like when a record label hears a single and it's like, that's the one. That's the one we're going to push. That's the one we're going to get behind. That's the one that's going to sell a bunch of records or whatever, right? So, yes, he just so happens to be called a PDF file on the record. But anybody with ears can hear that Not Like Us is the record that a parent label company should get behind to push everywhere they can. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
You got to. You got
I mean,
to.
here's also the reality of the matter, and this is what I mean about like, no, not even Drake, who is fast. Like the conversation between sales-wise biggest artists in this space is a Drake and Eminem conversation at this point.
Yeah.
But you cannot circumvent a quality record backed with your star power. Your star power is still not enough in this space. The record got to back it. And what this is really about, at the end of the day, Kendrick has the star power. In the past year, he made the one or two records, quite frankly, that were better than Drake's best one or two records. And that's how this motion goes. Kendrick made the better records. Now, Drake has been the bigger star up to this point the entirety of the time.
Mm.
But when one person who is comparable to you, this is kind of like one of those things. It's like, well, people thought Michael Jordan and Clyde Drexler were close till they played one-on-one in the finals.
Bingo.
And we realized that, well, Clyde is a Hall of Famer, and he's an all-time great player. This other guy is going down with all the greats already. That was nice. He's already going down. And so what we're really finding out at the end of the day, Kendrick is all-time great, and we still have some question marks about Drake because actually his battle record is very LeBron James-like in the NBA Finals. It ain't 500.
Hey, cool. The difference between talented and gifted. Once again.
Oh, see, I think Drake is gifted. I think they're both gifted.
It's still levels though.
No, I tell people this all the time. Oh no, if you're actually talking about overall talent, I do think Drake is more talented. He's just not the more talented.
More versatile talent.
Because when you can sing and rap the way that you can sing, he can sing and rap. You are the more gifted person. You are not the more gifted writer. And when you were battling, it's about the bars.
It's a more versatile thing. But I want to make one more quick point. This is my last point, but I want to give credit to Sean. Sean called it early on in the battle. Don't give credit to Sean. But Sean said early on in the battle, it was a mistake when territorial lines got drawn. Not Like Us is the first West Coast sounding record out of all the discs that Kendrick put out. So not only does it sound like a hit, it's anthemic that the West Coast can get behind it. And I was talking to my homie the other day, and he was talking about, you know what, gang culture in LA and all that stuff. LA are people, they can unite behind a common cause because they got a whole lot of pride. And we talking about New York, about the Dipsets falling out with each other or whatever. New York will never have a movement like that because they can't, it's too much infighting. You know what I mean? So not only do you have
spread out in Cali.
Right. So not only do you have a hit record, you have a record that everybody can have pride about and get behind, but Drake just happens to be the casualty of it. Sorry, buddy.
So listen to what I'm about to say, AG. Who's been the main person in this pod space for years saying, well, Kendrick need to make some West Coast shit for his folks? Do you see what happens?
100%. Yeah, you have.
That's why I'm telling people, it's like, no, don't look at me like I'm crazy. I'm the one that's been calling saying, like, no, he needs to go back home and make some West Coast stuff because those people will support you like nobody's business if you get down with what they get down with.
And he delivered on GNX because he didn't change up the formula. He didn't say like, well, let me go over here and make another conceptual album.
Hold on. But look, think about this. He ain't made no West Coast shit in a decade. But as soon as he did, he went past Drake in numbers, stature, battle, all that. All he had to do was rep his city. That's it. That's all I've been saying. Rep your city. Stop making all this artsy and creative stuff. He's such a creative genius. Like when you make some shit the homies can ride to. I used to live out there. I know these niggas. Like,
come back home. Come back home.
Come back home and come spin these blocks right quick and make some shit that these niggas like. And as soon as he did it, look what happened.
And what's smart is this is his most dumbed down album because you've inherited all those casual fans that used to be Drake fans. Now they riding your wave. So yeah, I'm gonna have to dumb it down to appease that ear that I know I just gained.
The album sound Cali. That's all I gotta say. All I gotta say, there's only been one person in this space for the last 4 years has been like, he need to make some West Coast shit.
Nah, you've been saying that.
Soon as he did, look what happened. He done took Drake down a notch. He got this fool suing people. The West done back over.
Who down worse, Cole or Drake?
Drake.
Who down?
Both.
Drake.
I'm saying Drake at this point.
I told you. I told you the
Sean said everybody's
the spider meme,
album,
Spider-Man meme is Kendrick looking at Kendrick because both of you dudes is on the outs. I'm only
Everybody.
gonna say Drake because quite frankly, Might Delete Later is better than any product Drake put out last year, and we further removed from Cole's fuckery than we are from Drake's.
Well,
So
Cole, and what day are we on? Today's the 16th. Cole's birthday, January 28th. I'm gonna put it out there. I think he's gonna try to drop on his birthday. I don't have no information. I'm just throwing that out there. But
can I tell you the truth? It's taking too long. I don't care anymore.
Yeah. I lost interest. Yeah.
Okay.
But I think if he comes out with a good product, he'll be in a better space than what Drake is.
Comes out with a good product?
Yeah, a dope album.
I don't want to talk about this anymore.
It needs to be more than dope. It needs to be monumental. It needs to be classic. It needs to shake the room.
Well, I did say on here before he had to drop a classic. So I said it wouldn't matter if he dropped a classic because he would always be in third. It don't matter. But Drake doing such a good job of shooting himself in the foot. He's cheddar bobbing himself. So if Cole puts out a classic album, he might move into second place.
Nah.
Here's how whack it all is.
Won't be doing it.
Drake is still going to do numbers.
Oh yeah. Well, we ain't talking about that.
But how much are we valuing the numbers in the grand scheme of things? We got to be consistent as fans. We can't say the numbers are important 1 minute and then when our favorite artists don't sell, like your numbers is not important.
Hey, fellas,
we can't do that.
Can I submit something to both of you? The numbers shouldn't be as big. His quality hasn't been as good. That's what I mean about.
That's what I said. Look at this run. Certified Lover Boy.
Kendrick,
honestly, never mind.
Right.
For all the dogs.
Kendrick isn't winning. Kendrick isn't just winning because he won the battle. He did make the more quality songs.
Yep.
Songs are better.
But Family Matters is fire. I'm not gonna hold you. But yes, he made the better quality
Family
songs.
Matters and The Hard Part 6. Both of those two records combined might not be as good as Not Like Us. You lost.
No.
You lost.
No. But that's the thing. Like, if Kendrick drop another album this year, and if it's one of those, what does that do to all of this within itself? Because at this point, I'm ready to move on from it, to be quite honest. I think this?
What if
hip-hop can move on from it?
What if Cole dropped something that's better than anything the three of them have done since Damn? That's the only thing that switches the narrative for me.
I don't think it's possible.
I don't think it changes anything, fellas.
It's possible.
I'm gonna ask you two questions right quick, Sean. Well, one question, and we'll see if it leads into the other question. Do you think J. Cole is capable of making something as good as or better than Damn at this stage?
Yes, I think he has it in him. I really do.
So if you think that he has it in, and I know you haven't been the biggest fan of his behavior, if you think he has that quality of a record in him, you don't think he could experience the same spike Kendrick just experienced or something comparable to? Do you think that's plausible if he does make a record of that quality? Because that's the thing that keeps getting lost in what Kendrick has done. And I said this, Not Like Us is the best record he's made since anything on Damn. GNX is the best thing that he's made since Damn. And Not Like Us is still better than everything on GNX. Like, there is something to do with the quality of music that he just made versus what he had been putting out and the spike in it, because he's already a megastar in this space.
But I think the problem we're going to run into with Cole is that his situation has become immutable. And because it's immutable at this point, I don't think he's going to be able to connect to the audience like he probably would have a couple of years ago.
That's a valid point.
They're not going to change their opinion no matter how dope this album is. That's the unfortunate part of hip-hop that we're in right now. Hip-hop has become immutable. If they feel like I feel this way about this artist, no matter what he or she does, I am not going to stand up and support it regardless. We've seen that over the years. When we were coming up, we paid attention to our own ear. We knew what we wanted to hear, and we went and represented for it no matter what. We bought Nostradamus because it was Nas. And I love Nostradamus because I have to say it. Right? But
all my money.
It, you know what I'm saying?
He owes me $14.99.
I mean, but we showed up,
15,
right?
26.
It went platinum because
Yeah.
we already had we were already connected to that brand, regardless. When your
Ooh,
brand,
he
when your
did go
brand is
platinum
attached,
off brand recognition. He did. He went
exactly.
platinum off brand
When
recognition. You're
when your
absolutely right.
brand has been attacked the way Cole's brand has been attacked last year, and you got the rise pause of Kendrick even more so, and you got Drake's downfall in the middle of all of that, his fan base who's still
See,
gonna ride for him, they're gonna ride for much as they possibly can. But you got those drifters, and there's a
okay,
lot of drifters in hip hop. There's a
okay.
lot
Casual fans.
of
Okay,
casual.
Sean, this is where it becomes so nuanced and so sketchy because it's like even when you're saying all that, and I hear and respect what you're saying, but it's like, well, what world are we living in? Because it's like we're talking about Drake falling off and he's still outpacing everybody not named Kendrick and Eminem. Is that what falling off looks like? Because if that's falling off, everybody need to be falling the fuck up.
Falling up. I'm
Everybody needs
gonna
to be
I'm gonna throw Drake a lifeline. I don't think he wins this lawsuit, but I think he'll get a small moral victory if this could just buy him time through the Super Bowl and Not Like Us doesn't get to get played on the Super Bowl stage.
Hey, how about this? Not Like Us getting played on the Super Bowl stage is about to help his lawsuit. What do you say about that?
Absolutely.
That's why they don't play it. Is what I'm saying. That would be a small win for him.
Okay, so what if this is just strategic about making sure that Not Like Us doesn't go viral at the Super Bowl and after
But
that
I don't see why a band can't play the tune. I just don't think he can say the lyrics. But I
How about
wouldn't
this?
risk it with
How
the
about this? How
litigation.
about
I
this?
wouldn't risk it.
How about this? This is what I'm saying. So hold on. So that's what I mean about is this about the artistic value and merit of how contracts get handled by the label, or is this just about you not wanting to get chumped off at the Super Bowl?
I think that's part of it. But if I'm Kendrick, I'm saying whatever. Forget Not Like Us. I don't need that song for my Super Bowl set. I'm standing on my square as my artist, as an artist with my catalog, and saying, you know what? I don't care. I don't need that song.
How about this? I'll tell you this. When I listen to GNX, oh, it's like, oh, he knew he was getting the Super Bowl performance because them scissor records playing at that Super Bowl.
With Squabble Up and TV Off, if you ask me, they're all in the same wheelhouse. You don't need to perform Not Like Us.
You really don't.
I'll take Squabble Up over Not Like Us. I love Squabble Up.
Well,
TV Off as well.
I can see in TV off as well. And
I'm not as
man,
big on TV Off.
Man at the Garden bring Nas out. Oops, I don't think I'm supposed to say that, but
That would be fire. And you stealing my idea, Sean, because I said that first.
I don't recall. You made it a hot line and made it a hot song.
I mean, you know,
you ain't get a coin.
I mean, last time I checked, they did share the same management. So
yeah, shared the
that's
same
not
management. He
like-
did say Nas the only one that congratulated him. Hey, let's look at the tea leaves.
Still wondering why he did that, but that's a whole nother conversation for another day. just want to be happy with everybody these days. That's great.
Yeah,
so happy that you. So happy.
I'm gonna sue you too, Sean. You got 2 lawsuits coming your way.
I mean, Sean. I mean, let's be honest. Between me and Sean, HipHopTalks probably has about 7-8 lawsuits coming this year. We just need to get ready for litigation. Let's get to some super chats and then let's get the press play and get out of here, fellas.
Yeah,
LP with the $4.99 Bell money. LP, I always need that. My brother was talking crazy to me today.
Easy.
He was. I told him, I was like, you come up here, you ain't coming back down. Don't do that dumb shit.
Oh man.
Mad Max with the $1.99 super chat. Laugh my ass off. Yo, Melly Mel just blacked on his channel. Well, Melly Mel does that. So next.
Yeah.
He did. I love him to death. He's our first all-time great rapper.
Yeah.
He be saying
Tell him to put a shirt on.
First of all, I don't think he's worn a shirt since 1995. It's been all tank top or shirtless since 1995.
Bro just had on some suspenders one day. I was like, yo, that's wild. Like, shirtless with some suspenders is nasty work.
That's dictionary worthy. Nasty work. And then just have Melly Mel suspenders, big ponytail looking all puffy and shit. Nasty work. It is. Mad Max 199. Disagree. We changed our tune on Gunna. Fire is fire.
The region did not. Too,
Okay,
I mean,
so this is what I mean. Drake's biggest problem isn't Kendrick; it's the music.
it's the music.
Gunna album was fire, y'all. Gunna
If
sold out State Farm down here. I
look,
told you these niggas projects ain't sound the same without Gunna. Ain't nobody even talking about this Lil Baby project no more.
if Drake get the stimulus package from the Futures and these other guys that he used to collaborate with, and they somehow go back to him on his side, that's his only way, in my opinion, that he can get in a decent position. They gotta go back to him. Like honestly, I really do.
You just created an optical illusion on how things look and how perception is not always reality, Sean, because you just said if they get the stimulus package from collaborating with him, that stimulates his album, right? But
So
everybody would have you think it's the reverse, that he did that for them. But
Yes,
Kendrick alluded to as much in the final verse of Not Like Us.
absolutely.
So I'm gonna tell you what I think the real power move left on the table for Drake is. You see, too many Kendrick fans have been acquired via Drake in the past year via this base, and it's time to separate. You know how you separate? You drop something right when the Super Bowl show is happening to take your fans away from his performance. Right. Because all of your fans
That's a hell of a move.
because all of your fans are about to be watching that performance too to see if he's gonna stun on you. You separate the fan bases by dropping material.
Nah, I like that idea. I roll with that. That's petty.
I, I, who are you talking to? Who thought of it? I mean, look at who you're talking to. I do this very, very well.
But it has to be an album. It can't be like a single or nothing like that.
No,
It has to be something.
I said
Yeah,
project. I
yeah.
said project. As in, it needs to be at least. How about this? Them five heat seeking missiles that he just dropped on you last summer. Well, you could use a little 5-track EP at bare minimum. You know, a little 5-track. How about this? And this would really, really help
Niggas
galvanize.
need a Daytona or some shit.
No, little 5-track EP, but the lead single's a Young Money single with Wayne and Nicki. A little get together to galvanize the base. You got to think this chess. This not checkers. He already beat you at chess. You better learn how to play chess with a grandmaster.
No, I'm with you, Coop. I'm with you, Coop.
Bars on your side.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, all right, on to our last topic. Press play. Songs of the week.
Yeah.
All this Drake talk about lawsuits and defamation got me thinking about the police and feds taking pictures and all that. And so I did my my dry snitch press playlist just for Drake. Gonna start off with one of my favorite songs by KRS-One, Sound of the Police.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's right. It's my Drake dry snitching playlist. KRS-One, Sound of the Police. This is off Return of the Boom Bap. A lot of people forget that this is actually KRS-One's first, I believe, first single from his actual first real solo album.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, Drake know all about this. Drake know all about these songs we about to go down. Next, personal favorite of mine, for My Name Is My Name, the Pharrell produced Snitch by Pusha T. Sorry, I'm trying to come home. It has a lot of dry snitching going on in these streets. If you're not familiar with this record, this is actually one of the better acronym made records the last 15 years. You didn't know I was taking it here, did you? Hey, G. Sean, cue me up again. One more time. Let's go. Grand it out. DJ Drama. Oh, Feds taking pictures. Let me tell you why. I don't need an OVO jacket. Drake, I can get the feds and the local police to tap my phone without your help at all. They've done it before. Next question before they stop watching again. Next song, Sean. Let's go. We got to make it happen fast. Feds taking pictures. Best anthem ever about the authorities. Lil NWA. Fuck the police. Yes, still rings true to this day. Guys, I'm done with my dry snitching plus player for the week.
Real quick, you know what's ironic? 2 out of your 4 picks have had problems with Drake.
I know. No. That was intentional.
Drama and Push. Yeah.
And the two would have problems with him if they saw this in their head. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, KRS-One had a big issue with Drake in his day.
Oh yeah.
He had issue with Nelly.
Him and his no.
Nelly is Drake. Drake is Nelly times 6.
You say I disrespect KRS. That's crazy. That's wild. Am I up next?
Yes, sir.
Okay, my inspiration was I still mess with that Hit Boy track, Letter to My Mentors, but like I said, I'm just a big fan of homage tracks. But what I like is great homage tracks with a little bit of shade thrown in there. You know what I'm saying? They say sometimes your idols become your rivals or never meet your heroes. You know what I'm saying? So that was my concept for my press play. Homage tracks with a little bit of shade in there. So I'm gonna start off with Doctor's Advocate, the title track off the Doctor's Advocate album, where it's like Game is penning a letter to Dre. Super dope track. He's rapping like from a drunk perspective or whatever, talking to Dre. And an underrated moment on this track, you know what I'm saying? He got Busta Rhymes coming in for the last verse, talking to Dre, vouching for Game. Like, yo, I know this nigga's hard headed or whatever, but you know what I'm saying? He a real one. Like, talk. So I thought that was a dope little twist on the album, on the track, having Busta Rhymes' perspective, like, kind of vouching for Game to Dre on the track. So, that's my first joint.
I like that.
My second joint I got is Joe Budden's Slaughtermouse, where he's penning a letter to Eminem as well as his Slaughterhouse group mates or collectives, because we've been talking about that in the show. They're another collective of people who started out as individual MCs who became a group and then they broke up over turmoil. So add them to the list. But this track is dope. I think that's a 5 mic album, All Love Lost by Joe Budden, and this is one of the standout tracks. One of my favorite albums of the. Yeah, I give it a 5 mic for real. I mean, he was going crazy on there, and
the bars are 5. The bars are a 5.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? The production, maybe if you want to take off a half of that, that's cool. But him talking to M on there, super dope, introspective track, relating to M, and then, talking to his Slaughterhouse group mates, which oddly enough, they had a leaked track from, an old Eminem album that was circulating this week with Eminem and Slaughterhouse that, was on social media. So that joint was pretty dope, but I don't think they'll ever get back together, but got that one. Moving on. I got Let Nas Down by J. Cole. I talked about the remix a little bit ago where Nas jumped on it and did the joint called Made Nas Proud. But J. Cole was talking about Nas not being happy or approving of his choice to come out with the single Workout. You know what I'm saying? And it's a little bit of shade in there. There's a little bit of shade in there, but he's paying homage to Nas through the track. And he's talking about, the pitfalls of coming up and having to make hit records and, still appease your fan base and stay true to who you are as a core artist. So, that's a dope track and arguably my favorite song on Born Center, which is my favorite Cole album. And the last track I got is Big Brother. This is probably my favorite one on my list because, it's, Kanye's paying homage to Jay, and he's throwing shade at Jay only the way that
it's so passive aggressive it is.
Yeah, it is. He's throwing shade at Jay only the way that Kanye can. The Coldplay line is my favorite. You know what I'm saying? I told Jay I got a song with Coldplay. Next thing you know, he got a song with Coldplay.
I was like, is this a homage song or is this a diss record? Yeah. I was like, I don't know what it is. It's easy.
Yeah, he was jumping on the bandwagon with everybody else calling Jay a biter, but still telling him like, yo, you still my big brother. But that's my press play. I love homage tracks, but I love those homage tracks with a little bit of shade in them.
Okay.
Cool. On brand. My inspiration this week was based on some of our hood classic movies that came out back in the day. I was listening to a lot of hip hop soundtracks, and I forgot how much we got away from having some dope hip hop soundtracks back in the day.
It's a dying art.
It's a dying art, man. And I actually wanted just to pull some of the joints on, just some relics from those the soundtracks. And my first one,
like we're about to go raid the Lost Ark, like we're Indiana Jones.
We going into the jewels, man. We going into where
Temple of Doom.
Ghost Dog, Coogee rapping RZA. RZA went crazy on his feature, man.
RZA does not get enough credit as an MC. I keep saying that. Best MC producer ever.
MC, but his actual last great production job Was Ghost Dog.
Go right. This beat was crazy, man. This beat
The beats on there are crazy.
Man.
It's his last great beat tape.
It was. And I love this joint. Coogee rap, Corona Queen stand up. But love this joint.
That was a good ramp. Sorry, Sean. I'm just saying that was a good ramp for Supreme because it came out like a week apart. Ghost Dog was like the week before. And
2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
It was like 2 weeks apart. Yep.
2 weeks apart. Yep.
My next one was Mobb Deep, Back at You on Sunset Park. I love this joint. I've always thought this joint should have been on one of their actual albums during that time. But this
balloons again.
This was one of those. Like the beat, Havoc destroyed this beat. I always felt like this was one of those. I love this track right here. Always loved this track. I had to search for this track so hard because I didn't know Sunset Park even had a soundtrack back then.
Motherless Child.
Oh my goodness! And this
Motherless Child is on Sunset Park, and so is We Don't Want It by Junior Mafia.
That's top 5 RZA beat.
Top 5.
I think it's top 10.
Listen to it with a system, and then come back to me.
I was broke when I had Iron Man. I haven't listened to that in the system. It's been a minute. That's fair.
I had one big ass 15 in my trunk.
Oh, you don't know I got a big 12 JBL subwoofer right here. I can just gotta plug it. Oh yeah. Oh, okay. We Don't Want It was my favorite song on Sunset Park, Sean. The Junior Mafia joint. That's one of my favorite Kim verses.
Crazy soundtrack.
Crazy.
My other one was Black and White. Remember Prodigy had a joint on there called Don't Be a Follower.
Yes.
And the Black and White soundtrack. Look at the heavy hitters on here.
No.
Black and White soundtrack. Right. And I used to play this joint over and over and over because again, this was when Prodigy was ramping up. This was when he was actually really stepping out there. And we thought that Prodigy was going to be the next one heavy hitter up because this way he was kind of moving away from a Havoc production and going into other different areas for production credits. And,
hey, you want
one of those?
You want to know what I didn't realize until like we started talking about the breakups today? Mobb Deep broke up like right in front of us, and we really just didn't recognize it because we refused to believe it. It's like they literally broke up.
Yeah, we didn't talk about it much.
We didn't talk about it. It was like traumatic for us, so we just kept it pushing. We were like, yeah,
it was quiet. It was quiet.
Yeah. But Sean, you did some digging for that one, the Black and White soundtrack, and shout out to Power for that and the movie and all that. You know what I'm saying? From the Woo, you did, respect. You did some digging for that one.
I was in Japan when this came out.
You could have went Soul in the Hole, but you went Black and White. I like that.
Yeah, you had to go Black and White. So I think Soul in the Hole was a little bit too
common. Too on the nose.
Diesel, the Wu-Tang record Diesel.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, ODB, man.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
The government's out to get me.
And he was right.
He was right. Feds taking pictures. Feds taking pictures. Here they are.
And my last one, Benz a Beamer off of New Jersey Drive soundtrack. Love this. Remember, New Jersey Drive had about, I think, 2 volumes. This was off volume 1, but they had 2 volumes, but they also had like a mixtape for New Jersey Drive. And I remember this is the first time I felt like I said, man, these guys are serious. Because I try to understand why would an Atlanta-based group be on New Jersey Drive soundtrack?
That's a good question.
Right? And I couldn't understand it. It's like in what, 95?
95.
And I'm like, why? So I started doing my research on Outkast. Like, you got to be that dope to be from Atlanta to be on a New Jersey Drive soundtrack. And man,
so
this really got me over Outkast.
So Sean, can I speak to that right quick? Because somebody here. When I talk about Andre, when I talk about Outkast and the belief that they instilled, no record instilled the belief like this record, because all of us down here were very clear that we had the best rap song on an East Coast based soundtrack.
Yes.
It's one of the things that made us believe down here. It's like, oh no, our best is just as good as their best, maybe even better at times. It is one of Outkast's 5 best songs, and it's not even a question.
Cool. It might be the best song on that soundtrack.
Oh no, it is.
It is.
It is the best song on that soundtrack.
It is.
It is.
And I had to take a pause when I'm like, yo, who are these guys?
No, even for us that love Southern Playalistic, because you have to understand they are better MCs on this record than they are on Southern Playalistic. And they're doing a back and forth on here that they are not doing on Southern Playalistic. So even us down here, we were like, oh, these dudes can rap like Biggie Smalls, Nas, Redman, Method Man, Wu-Tang Clan, Mob Deep rap.
Yo,
Snoop
real talk.
rap, Tupac rap, Ice Cube rap. They can rap. This was the record.
Yo, real talk. Yo, thank y'all for that, man, because that record came out 30 years ago. And me being where, you know what I'm saying, I came up at is more regionless as far as like, you know, the hip hop spheres and stuff. So Sean, you saying like up top, you know, it made me go check for Cass. You know what I'm saying? And Coop saying like, yo, it made us say like, yo, we're down south and we got the best song on the East Coast driven soundtrack. Where I'm coming up from, I'm just taking, you know, the whole soundtrack in, and I'm like, it's just dope. I'm not looking at it from those lenses, but you know, that's dope perspective.
And this video is the video that popularized the Bankhead Bounce, because that was the first time people saw the Bankhead Bounce outside of Atlanta live on TV. Cujo doing with the fishing rod and bringing it back. That was the first time anybody. No, we had been doing that down here since I was like 10 years old. That's like 1990. But that was the first time the world seen us live do it.
Exactly.
That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah. No, that's super dope pick, Sean. Super dope pick. Love it, because it's not only a dope soundtrack song, it's important to the history of hip hop for the southern region specifically.
It was because you know you're talking about 2 volumes on, you know, and again it had mixtapes as well associated with New Jersey Drive, and those mixtapes were actually better than the original soundtracks in my opinion, because it had so much going on with it, freestyles and all. But with Outkast being on the actual release version of the volumes, I just thought that just was a standout to me. I couldn't understand. I'm 15 at this time. I'm like, how? Why? On a up north soundtrack, you know, talking about what was going on in New Jersey, carjacking. You know what I'm saying?
And also low key, I felt like Andre on the first verse took a little low key shot at Tupac that people didn't catch at the end, because this is around the time that Tupac had got shot, and he's saying at the end of the first verse, as long as I got this legally, people see that we can be on top of things without causing another nigga sorrow. I know it ain't enough to go around, but keep on holding on like Goody Mo, because it's a better day tomorrow. That's all I can say. Can't tell the future. Tomorrow's another day, but today they just might shoot you for your ride. Fuck your pride high. Better be out your seat. Quickie snappy with the happy face before you bleed. Ask me if that material shit is worth your life. I don't know about yours, but if so, you're smoking pipes, right? That's around the time Pac got shot. I always thought like, it's like, is that at a shot at Pac not giving up the jewels up at Quad? Because you know that's
I never made that connection. That's crazy.
Always thought that was a Pac shot. That's after Pac got shot.
Might be
over not running the jewels. Pac's like, you about to shoot me, nigga.
Because that was the talk of the town. That was the talk of the
hip hop. It was Pac. This is 1995. People, I don't care what nobody says. 92, 93, and 94 is about Snoop. 95 and 96 is about Tupac.
Oh yeah, nothing more. Everything else kind of took the back seat.
Everybody else was in the back seat. There ain't nothing against Nas or Big. Y'all in the back seat of a car that Snoop and Pac drove for about 5 years.
Yeah, they ain't put out, and then Big had a lot of carryover, but nor Nas or Big put out records that year. So
no.
Yeah, and Me Against the World.
I mean, you can count Conspiracy for Big, I guess, but
Me Against the World did 4 million copies.
Right. Yeah, Pac was a megastar, man.
Keep that conspiracy. The conspiracy is who shot Tupac.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't press plays tonight, man. That was
great
good.
press plays. I think this is one of our best press plays. Everybody had different dope ass perspectives. All right, y'all, run our likes, shares, and subscribes up one more time before we get out of here. We're off to a great start to the year. Sean, you got any parting shots, thoughts?
Yes. Like, subscribe, share. We appreciate y'all. Join the Discord, join the Twitter handles, the Facebook. Continue to support the brand. Continue to get us up to that point where we can say we can bring on some phenomenal shows and interviews for you guys. We're trying to be very methodical in our approach to all of this, but we need you all help. So tell a friend to politely go on there, hit like, hit subscribe. It takes less than a second to do that, to get those subscriptions up for the guys. Appreciate y'all.
No doubt.
See y'all next Thursday.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.